They did prepare as if Holstein could go. Lynch got most of the reps with the ones this week.
Kind of got the sense, Matt, when we did our conference calls with these coaches and talk with Coach Narduzzi, when we asked him about Eli Holstein playing in this game, he kind of said, listen, there are Christmas miracles, right? And we're not going to have one today, the day after Christmas, as he's going to rest up. He had a great start to the season. Appears to be, by the way, the starter going forward, so they want to make sure he's healthy going into this offseason.
Well, Pitt won the toss and elected to defer, which means we'll see first-year starting quarterback Tucker Gleason lead the Toledo offense onto the field. Tucker Gleason, of course, replacing Daquan Finn, who was last year's MAC MVP. He's been terrific this year, Dustin.
He has, and really, a lot has been put on his plate. They've asked him to do a ton with the offensive line issues. They've had 5 new starters across that offensive line going into this season.
He hands it to Jacquez Stiller, who catches up the middle. Stiller out across the 40 and up to midfield. And that is the type of run they expect from this young man that won the state championship in the 100 in Florida 5 years ago.
This dude can flat out fly 10.33 in the 100 meters. You're right, partner. He could be running track in college in the state of Florida if he wanted to. Heck of a block down the field by Ethan Spath as well.
Gain of 41 to start the game for this Toledo offense that has so often relied on the big play. And now Jerwan Newton, their leading receiver, taking it for a few on first down.
For this offense, Matt, I'm sorry, partner. For this offense to really get clicking, they've got to have some sort of a ground game, and that's where they have lacked offensively this year. It's nice to see Stewart, at least it appears, on that first play, to be as close to 100% as he's been all year.
Well, we talked so much about the Pitt injury. Certainly Toledo has dealt with a host of injuries themselves. No Willie Shaw today at the running back position. And that pass intended for Anthony Torres and incomplete.
That's the one good thing about this bowl game. You've got time between that final game of the regular season, an opportunity to get some guys healthy. And it does appear, for whatever reason, that this year, Matt, a lot more players are opting in and choosing to play in these bowl games, which I love.
Only one opt-out that we were made aware of anyway for Toledo coming into the day. That was on the defensive side. Pressure comes on 3rd and long, and it forces an incomplete pass, but a late flag comes in after the incompletion.
Yeah, a lot of contact there on the outside. Taman Lynham, number 8, I think is going to get called.
Pass interference. Number 8, defense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And wasn't that the theme for this Pitt defense over their 5-game slide? Inability to get off the field on 3rd and long, and a penalty keeps the drive alive for Toledo. Gleason downfield, has his man, Junior Vanderos, inside the 5, and they are knocking on the door early for their first score.
Boy, this sure looks like the offense you saw against Mississippi State earlier in September. Explosive to start this game.
With it to the line on 1st and goal, and Wallensack is swallowed up by the Kansas State transfer Nate Matlack.
Now you go back to that last play, Junior Vanderos in the middle, just that little stick bang, 8 right down the middle. It's 0 coverage, and he's wide open. Great throw by Gleason. But then going back to get 1st and goal, the ensuing play, and a terrific job by Nate Matlack to get the tackle for loss. Now they're set up 2nd and goal from just outside the 5.
Back to Wallensack. And again, stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Rasheem Biles, their excellent outside linebacker, making the play.
Boy, they have some really good linebackers here at Pitt this season, Matt. Rasheem Biles, Brandon George, Kyle Lewis, the All-American outside backer as well. Got some dudes there in the middle of this defense.
3rd and goal from the 5. Play action. Gleason can run, and he lowers his shoulder to get back to about the original line of scrimmage, and now 4th and goal from about the 2. You're going for it here.
What do you have to lose? Nothing. Absolutely, I'm lining up and going for this. Especially the way the season ended. Heck yeah, you're 7-5. You're in a bowl game. Let's go.
Going to bring in an extra tight end and Connor Jones. Ball just outside the 2-yard line.
And on the other side of things too, I think for Jason Campbell, you're probably thinking, hey, if we don't get this, they've got a kid on the other side who's making his first career start. How about him start the 2-yard line?
Play action, forward to the end zone and caught for a touchdown. Anthony Torres with his 9th touchdown of the season to put Toledo on the board first.
What a great story Anthony Torres is. Everyone wants to talk about Harold Fannin and Tanner Koziel at Ball State and all these great tight ends here in the Mid-American Conference, but quietly Anthony Torres has put together a senior campaign that may put him in the National Football League.
Dylan Cunanan on to make it a 7-point lead for Toledo, and it's blocked. Pitt is running away with it. And they're going to take it all the way to the house. Whoa. Lewis. Kyle Lewis, their All-American linebacker, scooping and scoring.
Boy, blocks the kick and scoop and scores this thing. What an athlete Kyle Lewis is here. You talked about, Matt, the All-American linebacker having a tremendous season. So they give up the drive for the touchdown, but a little momentum here. 6-2, is this baseball? Tigers aren't playing today.
You're watching the Capital One Bowl Mania. From Detroit, Michigan, a 6-2 early lead for Toledo after Kyle Lewis, the second-team All-American, ran a block kick all the way back for 85 yards in the score.
It's not a touchdown like he had against Syracuse, that pick six, 59 yards versus the Orange, but heck of an athletic play. There's a look at David Lynch. Going to see and hear a lot about this young man today and his story, because he's come a long way from Rhode Island to Motown for his first start of his college football career.
Plays in the injured Eli Holstein today, and we'll get into it more as the game unfolds. Meanwhile, Michael Denning to kick it off, and Kenny Johnson, the dangerous return man, back deep for Pitt. And he will let this hit into the end zone for a touchback. So David Lynch making his first career start. A redshirt freshman walk-on from East Greenwich, Rhode Island. Began the year as the fourth-string quarterback. Ended up beating out Ty Diefenbach, a scholarship player, for the third-string position at the end of the regular season. Diefenbach has since hit the portal, and so has Nate Yarnell, and that is why this is David Lynch's offense today.
And maybe a good opportunity here for Lynch and for Narduzzi to see what they have as they go into next season with Eli Holstein most likely the starter.
How about this? A pass on the first play of the game, incomplete to Kenny Johnson, as we send it down to Harry Lyles.
Yeah, guys, I spoke with Pitt offensive coordinator Cade Bell before the game. He said not only are there going to be no limitations on the playbook with David Lynch, but also we will be seeing number 12 Julian Duggar at quarterback as well today.
That's great stuff, Harry. And they are excited to have Desmond Reed back at running back, because Dustin, he has been their guy, their playmaker all season long.
Yeah, and for him to be healthy, I think is huge for this Pitt offense, especially with Lynch going in his first career start. I think Reed, assuming he's healthy, he may touch the football, Matt, and I'm not exaggerating, like 35 times, whether it be receptions out of the backfield, on kickoff, punt returns, whatever it may be. They want to get the ball in his hands.
He'll get it again on first down and sets away from some tacklers in the backfield. Picks up 5. Finally brought down by Deshaun Holt.
You know, you look at his size, talking about Desmond Reed, 5'8", 175, okay? there's a reason why his stature, look at him, he just gets in there and you can't find him, right? I mean, so he just squirts up through the middle there. A terrific job, great patience, vision, all those good things, and then a little bit of burst to pick up about 5.
Second down, underneath goes to Poppy Williams, and complete, bringing up 3rd and 1.
Now remember, this offense does go up tempo. Cade Bell, their new OC, comes over from Western Carolina, and he wants to run as fast as they possibly can. The one thing I said to you, Matt, before the game we were chatting is, like, how fast do you go with a quarterback who's never played?
On 3rd down, floating it to Reed, who is popped across the line to gain by Jaden Dotton, who 7 games into the season switched from wide receiver over to safety.
A really nice hit here by Dotton, but a great awareness by Desmond Reed to know where the sticks are at, and he gets just beyond the line to gain.
First down for Lynch. He's going to take a shot out wide, and he hit Poppy Williams out of bounds and incomplete.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, you know, Cade Bell is not scared to put the football in the air with David Lynch coming out, taking a couple shots down the field. I did speak with Coach Narduzzi before the game, and I said, Coach, you're going to be a little more conservative. Maybe early, but he's like, that's not Cade's MO.
This is a team that ranked 15th in the country in passing yards this year. How much can you really change just because you've got a different quarterback in there when you played one way all season long? 2nd and 10. Lynch will try to take off, and he is wrapped up by the second-team All-MAC defensive end, Darius Alexander.
Boy, Darius Alexander doesn't get enough love on this defensive line. Every game that you and I have called, and this is our 4th game we've done of Toledo this year, he pops on the film. Big-time playmaker, 6'4", 310, playing that defensive tackle position. Now a huge 3rd and 12 for the young quarterback in this Pitt offense after they have a nice productive start to this drive.
Empty backfield for Lynch. Steps up, and there was some contact there intended for Kenny Johnson. Pat Narduzzi wanted a flag on Avery Smith, the All-MAC cornerback with the coverage, and instead it's 4th down.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure, and you see David Lynch is forced to step up in the pocket. I love Avery Smith's game. This young man has really stepped up this season as the top cover corner there for the Rockets, and comes up with the play. Little contact, as you mentioned, Matt, but nonetheless, they're going to be able to get off the field here and force a punt.
Caleb Junko, the Pitt punter, and Bryson Hammer back deep to return. And Hammer waved for the fair catch just across the 15. So the Rockets strike first, have an extra point blocked. Pitt takes it back. It's 6-2. Toledo from the Gameabove Sports Bowl in Motown.
Wow.
Well, Toledo got off the field after a great 3rd down play in the secondary by Avery Smith, forced a punt, and now their 2nd drive of the game. And Gleason gives it off to Jaquez Stewart, a guy that they're thrilled to have healthy. But let's face it, this team has relied on big plays through the air this season. Dustin, they've had 2 All-MAC wide receivers.
Yeah, 2 of the best receivers, not just in the Mid-American Conference, but I think you'd find across the entire country. And there's Newton right on cue, Matt, with his first catch.
Well, Newton, the all-time leading touchdown receptions player at Toledo.
Think about this. You've got Newton with 11 touchdowns, and then you add in Anthony Torres, who's got 9.
Floats it back to Newton, who has room. Out across midfield. And Jerwan Newton finally taken down in plus territory.
Well, they're taking advantage of really the weakness of this defense. That's the secondary. They've had issues all season long. And when you've got a guy like Newton, I don't even know how he gets so wide open. It looks like he just kind of got washed to another defender, another receiver as well. He's wide open.
Sets up 1st and 10. That ball batted down, intended for Junior Vanderos.
Matt, they are putting these corners and safeties on an island to start this game. Like right there, Vanderos was coming on a deep in route and was wide open. If that's not tipped, he may be walking into the end zone.
And that was one of the matchups you wanted to watch in this game. Tucker Gleason against the Pitt secondary. So far, they are letting him throw it.
And listen, Tucker Gleason to me looks a million times healthier than the last time you and I saw him, which was November 26th against Akron. Looks like a different player.
Zips it out to Vanderos, who has enough for a 1st down and more as he fights for extra yardage out across the 35. Vanderos' 2nd straight year as the 2nd leading receiver behind Jerwan Newton. Both guys had their opportunities to hit the portal and go to bigger schools, opted to stay in the MAC. Here's Savon Clark, the Georgia transfer, and he is stopped behind the line of scrimmage by Brandon George.
Well, as you approach field goal range here for the Toledo Rockets, one thing to keep an eye on and keep in mind is the kicking situation for Toledo. Dylan Cunanan, who, Matt, unfortunately missed 3 kicks in that last game against Akron.
There's Vanderos on the screen, and he is going nowhere. Stopped by a convoy of Pitt defenders led by the All-American Kyle Lewis, and that brings up 3rd and long.
So now you're in a spot where you'd like to pick up half of this at least, right, to give Cunanan a better opportunity at a field goal, which would be his first attempt since that rough evening in Akron, Ohio.
3rd and 14 from the 37. Gleason double clutch, gets it out to his tight end Torres. Back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, I may just go for this, Matt, if I'm Toledo, considering the distance on this. I know you're indoors. I guess you have to say, how confident is Coach Jason Candle in his kicking situation? I'm guessing had that game not happened, he'd probably be saying, well, maybe he is.
Well, Jason Candle did tell us that he feels confident.
Oh, they're going to punt,
in the
Matt. Excuse me.
game, and they are going to bring Emilio Duran out for a pooch kick here.
Boy, I don't really get this call. I mean, this goes in the end zone. Then you got a flag now.
Well, they're going to take the delay of game, move him back 5 yards, give Emilio Duran a little bit extra room to work with.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And I get it, because this is a little bit outside of Dylan Cunanan's range anyway. They really are looking for something between the 30 to 33-yard line. This would be the longest kick of his career.
Well, he did have the 54-yarder against BG, so this would be right around that. Still, would that be the one kick you want to have him come back for?
Right. Des Reed back there to receive. And he was interfered with, it looked like, and now the flags are going to come in. Reed
Avery
jaw-jacking a little bit
was
with
just
Avery
like
Smith.
Avery Smith grabs the ball from the returner.
Kick catching interference. Number 12, kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down Pitt. Timeout.
So Jason Candle's Toledo Rockets lead it by 4. They give the football back to Pitt, who will try to get something going with their redshirt freshman walk-on quarterback, David Lynch. Welcome back to Detroit, Michigan, where Toledo leads it 6-2 over a Pitt Panthers team that has been depleted all year with injuries. Now guys hitting the transfer portal. Eli Holstein, of course, led this team to a 7-0 start. Dustin, 17 passing touchdowns over the first 5 games of the regular season, or 17 total touchdowns. That was one of the tops in the country. They've sputtered a little bit since, but you liked what you saw from David Lynch, the walk-on quarterback, in his first start on their first drive.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised. They came out and threw the football as they go back to the ground game here on first down. But on that opening drive, it was 8 plays, Matt, and six of them, one was a sack, but the other 5 were pass attempts, right? So 2 runs, 6 pass attempts on that opening drive for a freshman quarterback making his first start.
2nd and 9. It'll go to Desmond Reed, a stop and start. Reed blasting ahead for a first down, and is finally tackled by Jaden Dotton after a gain of 17.
Well, there you see Desmond Reed. I think him and Jacquez Stewart are like spitting images of each other on opposite teams. Both very, very capable to take it the distance.
Back to him. And this time stopped just across the line of game. They're going to give him 1 on forward progress. Man, how good has he been? First year at the FBS level, coming over from the FCS with Cade Bell, has been their weapon, both in the run game and in the pass game.
No question. And for his size to be able to carry the football and take on the workload that he has to in this offense is just remarkable.
3rd straight play, they're going to give it to Reed, and he gallops ahead close to the line of gain. They're going to have him stop just short, bringing up 3rd and less than 1.
And again, you can see this tempo that they run with here. Just 2nd in the country in terms of how fast their offense runs. 2nd to South Florida and Coach Golish.
That'll be enough to move the chains. Well, the one thing that Cade Bell told us about David Lynch, he said, look, not many people know about him, right? He's a walk-on quarterback. He had only taken snaps in their last 2 regular season games due to all the injuries. But we love his moxie, and we think he can actually play at this level. As Daniel Bolden just exited the game, one of the top defensive players for Toledo. Lynch on the check down. And he hits the freshman Juelz Goff, who will get more run today because of those injuries in the running back room at Pitt.
Yeah, Goff, just a freshman as well, getting an opportunity here in this game.
Get hurt over here. Don't get hurt. Green live play.
Back to Goff. Has enough for the first down and more inside the 30 and upended by Nasir Bowers. And look, this is a Pitt team, right? They lost Derek Davis to an ACL. They lost Daniel Carter to a broken leg, and then they lost 2 others to the transfer portal. They are looking deep down the depth chart for help in this game.
Well, the depth chart becomes obviously a lot larger when Des Reed is healthy, so that takes a little bit off the plate.
Lynch will take a shot on play action and hits Poppy Williams inside the 15 for a gain of 16. And this Pitt offense is clicking now on their 2nd drive of the game.
Goodness, they have been clicking both drives outside of the one play that stalled the last drive. Their offense going right up and down the field.
And now Julian Duggar enters the game for Pitt. The true freshman from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Quarterback run.
Indeed. On his first college snap, barrels ahead close to the line to gain. Tackled by Jaden Dotton.
They're going to keep him in. Clearly a package they've been practicing when you get inside the red zone here with Duggar.
Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Pitt knocking on the door of their first offensive score of the game. Duggar again will keep. And it appears he does have enough to move the chains. And that might be the final play of the first quarter. Wes Cade Bell wants to squeeze something in quickly here as David Lynch comes back onto the field. And they will not. Toledo will take a 6-2 lead to the second quarter, but the Pitt offense is looking like they found something here under their redshirt freshman, David Lynch. A lot of energy in the building this afternoon. Toledo striking first, but Pitt answering on a blocked extra point by Kyle Lewis. It's with you. Getting set to snap their 11th play of the drive on 1st and goal from inside the 5.
I really like the changeup that they brought. Bringing Julian Duggar into the game. Now they go right back to David Lynch.
They will toss it to Desmond Reed, who will skirt right into the end zone. But there is a flag on the goal line. And we will hear from our referee, Ron Hudson, as to whether or not that score will stand.
Offside, number 4, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
10th touchdown of the year for Desmond Reed, leading all Pitt Panthers. Gives the team from the ACC the lead here early.
Oh, that was an easy touchdown run by Des Reed on the outside. He catches the toss sweep. Nobody within 5 to 7 yards, and he just walks into the end zone. Very, very impressive drive by the Panthers to respond to Toledo's very impressive opening drive of the game.
And Saul's their excellent kicker on for the PAT, makes it a 3-point Pitt lead after Toledo scored the opening touchdown of the game. Now Desmond Reed, an All-American and the only player in the country to rush and receive for over 500 yards this season.
Take a look at the block here on the outside. You're going to see the run's going to go outside, but you're going to get a nice block coming on the inside. Kenny Johnson, number 2, just to seal it off and allow Reed that extra room to get to the end zone. Didn't have to exert much effort. That's always nice.
And what a revelation he has been, transferring up from the FCS level, where he was very good. Second in the SoCon last year in rushing, despite missing a handful of games with injury. Cade Bell told us at the beginning of the year we had Pitt week 1 against Kent State. Ironically, another MAC team. Cade Bell told us, look, this guy can play at this level. A huge get for Pitt, and to keep him going into 2025, massive for Pat Narduzzi.
There's no doubt that Des Reed could seek out other schools, other opportunities, other dollars. You know what I mean? That's the world we live in now in college football. But he made the decision. He announced that he's coming back to Pitt. And you got to think, Matt, Pitt giving him this opportunity to go from FCS to FBS, playing at a P4, and then the way he fits into this scheme, and with Cade Bell, the relationship, I think, between him and Cade Bell is so strong that obviously that is something that's going to carry over to the 2025 season. And the other thing, too, Cade Bell loves the fact that Des Reed is helping everybody else on this offense understand and learn the offense.
Tucker Gleason, long throw. He was looking for his leading receiver, Jawan Newton, and incomplete. Well, Toledo's last drive resulted in a punt by Emilio Duran. Had an opportunity maybe to try a long field goal with Dylan Cunanan. Instead, went for field position, and Pitt flipped the field on him, scoring their first touchdown of the game. Now the Rockets trailing for the first time in this first half. And that play is blown up immediately and incomplete, as Rasheem Biles scooped it and was hoping to take it for 6.
Goodness gracious, this is a big-time hit here on the outside. Tamon Lynham, number 8. It's called for a PI earlier in the game. Here comes up with a big stick on the outside. And I think it's the right call. It didn't have an opportunity, talking about Zyros. Thomas Zyros, 84, to make that football move. They call it an incomplete pass immediately. So right back to a 3rd and 10 here for the Rockets and Tucker Gleason. Jerwan Newton time with the empty set? I think so, top of the screen.
Instead, it's over the middle to Torres, the tight end. And he is stopped shy of the line to gain by a couple of yards. And the punt unit will come out yet again for Toledo.
A little surprised he didn't look up top there to Newton, because he did motion out to the empty set, decides to come back to the middle of the field and finds his tight end Torres a little bit shy of the line to gain.
Watch out for Desmond Reed.
His all-purpose yards
In these situations,
off the charts.
electric.
Buckle up.
Already has one punt return for a touchdown this season. And he will fair catch this one at the 30. After a quick 3-and-out by Toledo. Pitt will take over the football again. Desmond Reed giving the injuries and frankly some unluckiness sort of derailed their hopes for a playoff berth, but here they are leading Toledo in a bowl game, trying to snap a 5-game skid. And it's Desmond Reed galloping ahead for a first down and a lot more as he lowers the boom on Nasir Bowers across the 50.
That's a great thing about Des Reed. You know, he's a little guy, shifty, scat back, whatever, but watch him lower the boom. Lowers the shoulder right there on Bowers at the end of that run. Great physicality from the young man.
Back to Reed. Showing more physicality. Gain of 8.
Guys, I spoke with Desmond Reed earlier this week. He's listed at 5'8", 175 pounds, but he told me I give it everything I got on the field no matter what it is. He says I'm always going to play bigger than the size that I am listed at. He said I can promise you that.
Well, I promise you this much. He plays like he's 6'2", 250 pounds. I mean, he's like Derrick Henry out there in a little man's body, and you can see that physicality again picking up that first down.
And they give it to him like he's the size of Derrick Henry. Came into the day with over 150 rushing attempts.
Well, he gets a little bit of a break here. Comes off the sidelines on that first down. They're going to have Jules Goff, the true freshman, come in to spell Des Reed.
Fake it to him, and now a deep shot. Looking for Kenny Johnson, and incomplete. He was covered by the first-team All-MAC cornerback, Avery Smith. And we expected to see Pitt take some shots today against a Toledo secondary that is without 3-time All-MAC recipient at safety Maxon Hook, who elected not to play in this bowl game as he prepares for the NFL draft.
Well, and that's a big loss. Maxon Hook has been the bell cow back there in the secondary for the last several seasons, and for him not to be out here as the one returning starter, quarterback of the defense, all those good things, that's a huge loss. So they do expect Avery Smith to step up big here in this game.
Number 74, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That is a false start on the right tackle, Terrence Enos Jr. A cleanly played game to this point. Not a lot of penalties. That was the first offensive penalty on Pitt this afternoon. Second and 15 goes to Goff, and he is swallowed up by Deshaun Holt. One of 7 sixth-year seniors in the front 7 for Toledo this afternoon.
I was going to say, you got to get Des Reed back in the game here on this 3rd and 14. 2 snaps is enough time for him to get a little Gatorade on the sideline, get him back in the game, because you want to pick this one up, you gotta have your top playmaker in the game. And frankly, great screen opportunity here on this 3rd and 14 to potentially get the ball in the hands of Reed.
Lynch will dump it down to Desmond Reed. Who is swallowed up just across the line to gain by the Youngstown State transfer, Zeke Blake.
Great coverage down the field by the Rockets secondary, and then he just has to take the check down. On 3rd and 15, they're going to back out everybody and say, hey, you want to dump it down to Reed? That's just fine. We will pursue the football, make a great tackle there on the outside. Really well done there by Zeke Blake.
And now it's Ben Salz, who has been terrific this year.
You were looking forward to this, to see Ben Salz's leg and to see if he could potentially have an opportunity to, as they take a timeout, a little confusion, not enough men on the field for this Pitt attempt. What was the record? 65 yards in it?
The record is 66. And Ben Salz told the coaching staff, if there's an opportunity, I want to go for it this afternoon against Toledo. Of course, that record set a couple of years ago by the excellent Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker. Pat Narduzzi telling us he expects Ben Salz to get paid to kick field goals at the next level when his career is over at Pitt.
Yeah, he is a heck of a kicker, arguably one of the best in the country. And they'll give him an opportunity.
Season-long 58, week 6 against Cal. This one from 57. Kick is away. And it is money by Ben Salz, giving Pitt a 6-point lead.
Well, you need points. Better call Salz. 57 yards. Goodness, that'd have been good from maybe 66. We'll find out. More to come. 12-6 from Motown.
Pretty good company for Jason Candle's Toledo Rockets.
Oh, no question. Jason Candle has done a terrific job with the Rockets throughout his tenure. It really is amazing. Both these coaches, Narduzzi and Jason Candle, have both respectively been at their programs for combined almost 20 years. This doesn't happen.
Yeah, guys, this Toledo team's got a bunch of very experienced guys that have been playing since 2018 and 2019. Toledo head coach Jason Candle talked about how much this group has been through together between COVID, losing a teammate, and the social justice movement after George Floyd's murder. He said that these guys have set the standard for what their program should look like. And he's talking about guys like Jackson Barrow, Jerwan Newton, and Dan Bolden. Jerwan Newton actually told me his teammates are guys that are going to be at each other's weddings and kids' birthday parties one day. He also credited the Toledo fans and said they have made not just the home games great, but even such away games feel like home games. He said they love this team and the team loves them back very much.
Gleason throws it to Anthony Torres and incomplete. Yeah, Harry, you mentioned these are guys that will go to each other's weddings. Anthony Torres already got married, had a lot of teammates at his wedding. That's how veteran this group is. 20 seniors trying to win their final game and against the Power 5 team.
Yeah, and that's what was so disappointing, I think, at the end of the year, is you got a group of guys that, as Harry mentioned, you've been through so much with, that you thought maybe you'd put it all together again and come back for another, run at the MAC title. Obviously, they fall short, but still, you're here in Detroit. You're facing a P4 opponent in Pitt, a team that's a great program throughout the history of college football, and a great chance to come away with a victory and end the season the right way.
But they got to find something on offense, Dustin, because the last 2 drives have resulted in punts, and now they're dangerously close to another 3 and out on this 3rd and 10.
That first drive, in parts of that second drive, there were opportunities to make plays in the pass game. And, what's interesting is Jacquez Stewart started the game hot, a couple carries, and now we really haven't seen him since.
Empty set for Tucker Gleason. His offense is just 1 for 4 on 3rd down. Feels the pressure, gets it out to Connor Wallensack, but short of the line to gain after the tackle by Donovan McMillan. And what a player McMillan has been in his career. 2nd year transferring over from Florida, back-to-back 100 tackle seasons.
He does a lot for this defense. Plays the boundary safety position, which puts you in a spot to make a lot of tackles. But just because you make a lot of tackles doesn't mean that it's a detriment to your defense. He's a great player who has helped tremendously in the back end.
Now a Emilio Duran on for his third punt. Desmond Reed back to receive. And he will return it. Reed still going without a helmet. And the flags come in behind the play.
They just stopped the play.
He is a bulldog with the football in his hands.
It's impossible to get this guy on the ground with the first tackler, the first attempt. It really is impossible. In a situation like that, they're going to blow that play dead. Ball carrier's helmet's off. You can just tackle. And it may be fortunate for the Rockets because he may have continued going to the end zone, potentially. He breaks out of that one, man. I don't know.
Here's Ron Hudson.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 15. Kicking team. 15 yards. You're going to force him in the end of the run. First down.
That's now the second penalty of 15 yards on the Toledo coverage team. One interfering with a fair catching Desmond Reed in the first quarter, and now that face mask penalty will tack on 15.
Now, it's probably the 15 yards that Reed would have gained had his helmet not been ripped off. So, ball don't lie.
Well, Harry Lyles talked earlier, Dustin, that he plays bigger than his size. Man, have we seen that in the first half here in Detroit.
No doubt.
And they will flip it to Reed. On the pitch, darting forward for positive yardage.
And Matt, he never, it appears, in the games, in clips, and film I've watched of Des Reed, he's always going forward. He's falling forward. He's north and south. Like, this guy is so good at getting positive yards. And you can see why Pitt fans were, devastated when he had to miss some time, missed that Boston College game at the end of the season, and now back to hopefully healthy. A little limp coming off the field there.
There's replacement. Juelz Goff making two-man miss. There goes the freshman Goff inside the 35 as a flag comes in after the play. David Lynch signaling that it might be a penalty against Toledo.
During the run, illegal block in the back. Number 86, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains second down.
Instead, it's against the tight end and captain, Gavin Bartholomew. Pitt might have something here with Juelz Goff. Desmond Reed was asked going into bowl week, what do you make of Juelz Goff? We haven't seen a lot of him, of course, this year. And he said, I think he's going to have a breakout performance today against Toledo.
Well, they were looking for it. They knew he'd have the opportunity, and here to start the game has showed some signs of a burst and a nice young player.
Watch out for Lynch. Looking for Poppy Williams, maybe a step or two too long on the throw. As Nasir Bowers was in coverage, and now 3rd and 3.
One player they are without is Kanate Mumfield, who transferred from Akron's been a really, really productive wide receiver for Pitt. He's declared for the NFL draft, so they're without one skill position on the outside, so more opportunities for guys like Poppy and Kenny Johnson and Gavin Bartholomew, especially on the outside at the tight end position, to make some plays.
5 seconds on the play clock, 3rd and 3. Lynch under pressure is taken down. And the Toledo defense brings heat with the West Virginia transfer, Lance Dixon.
And they never ruled the ball dead, Matt.
And Jaden Dotton's going to take it all the way to the end zone.
They never ruled the ball dead. And Toledo looked around like, okay, what's going on here? And at the last moment, Dotton had a clear recovery of the football. Obviously, we're going to go back and take a look at this play to make sure that this is a legitimate touchdown. But very smart by the Rockets and Dotton to get that ball at the end zone here and make the officials take another look. The pressure comes off the outside, right in that C gap.
Well, the entire Pitt offensive line thought that was an incomplete pass. Nobody really pursuing the football on the Pitt side. Jaden Dott
good awareness.
wisely picks it up.
Well, and he
sees his sideline, Dustin, and goes.
Yeah, no, it's a really smart play by him. Great awareness by the Toledo sideline to tell him to keep going, and still waiting to get the official call from Ron Hudson and his staff.
Todd Rath, a replay official for the Gameabove Sports Bowl here in Toledo, in Detroit, rather.
Is the arm going forward? That's the question, right? So he's going back. Man, that's right on the cusp. And they let it go on the field. I have any thoughts, Matt?
Well, I was just going to ask you, you think it's one of those plays where whatever the call on the field is, it stands because there's not enough to overturn it?
Yes, I do.
In which case, what a heady play by the former wide receiver turned safety, Jaden Dotton.
Like, honestly, Matt, if they would have said that's incomplete on the field, I'd probably said, yeah, it's going to be tough to overturn.
Right.
Right. To say it's a fumble and vice versa. We've had several calls like that this year that have been really tough to overturn, and they end up just being a call stands.
The last image on that replay says it all. Damon Ollison threw his hands up thinking, oh, we almost had a chance to intercept that ball. And he just stood there with the ball at his feet. His teammate Jaden Dotton sensing an opportunity. And now here is Ron Hudson.
It was determined that it was an incomplete pass. It was a fourth down at the 50-yard line.
Very close. You know, like I said, I mean, it could have basically gone either way. I'm a little surprised they overturn it, but nonetheless, Toledo still gets the stop and will force a punt.
Negates a 54-yard return for a touchdown. And the punt unit is on for Pitt. Junko. High and deep punt, fielded inside the 10 by Bryson Hammer. And now this Toledo offense will try to get something going against a Pitt defense that has been stout this afternoon.
And it starts right there on the special teams. Then you see the pursuit of the Pitt defense. I thought they were a little lax on the opening possession of the game, and then all of a sudden, things started clicking on defense. Started flying around a little bit more, getting the ball on the ground, tightening up the coverage in the back end, and forcing Tucker Gleason to throw into tighter windows.
Gleason started the game 8 for 10 with 82 yards. Has since gone 2 for 6 with just 16 yards passing. Sends Juwan Newton in motion. Gives to Connor Wallensack, who is going nowhere. A loss on the play. After the tackle by Temple. And Dustin, you mentioned this earlier. We saw a lot of Jaquez Stewart in the first quarter. Have not seen him yet in the second quarter. It has just been Connor Wallensack and a little bit of Savon Clark.
Yeah, he's right on the sidelines, right by the offensive staff.
Oh, what a throw by Tucker Gleason under pressure, finding Anthony Torres. That is a positive play for 28 that this offense desperately needed.
Yeah, they had to have that one, and a great decision to go down the middle to Torres, who again continues to have another strong performance.
Gleason to the air again. Diving attempt by Juwan Newton and incomplete.
I do kind of like the rhythm here, you know, picking up the pace a little bit more after that previous first down reception by Torres. They got it to the line of scrimmage. I think it got Pitt on their heels a little bit there on that first down. Just a drop on the outside by Newton.
That's what we saw on their opening drive of the game, which resulted in 10 plays and a touchdown. Marched right down the field. They get to Wallensack, zipped out to Vander Oss. What throw? Vander Oss in a foot race. And they're not going to catch him today in Detroit. Touchdown, Toledo.
And he's going to get flagged at the end for the EA Sports jump into the end zone. What a burst. by Junior Vandeross, who has made a ton of plays for this offense this year, and right there, exactly what the Rockets needed. Somebody to have an explosive play in the pass game, and you get your two of your stars, really. You get Torres, picks up that 23-yard gain, first down, keeps the drive going, and then boom, Junior Vandeross, the catch, the run, the speed. Let him have a little fun, too. I'm kind of anti that.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 2, Toledo. That 15-yard penalty.
There you go. Just and probably could have, well, it was very close, too. You can call that pass interference offensively, but the ball's thrown right at the line of scrimmage. So the block's allowed by Newton. And then, well, you know what he did there? You know what he did. He did the Marshawn Lynch, right? And that's, we've all seen that viral video. You can find it.
Result of the play, nonetheless, is a touchdown, and it caps off a 4-play, 93-yard drive for a Toledo team that has lived on the big play through the air this season. Vandeross taking it the distance.
House call by Junior Vandeross. Yeah, a little penalty there at the end, celebration, easy call, but 13-12. Nice response by the Rockets here from Motown.
I did, Park. How about yourself?
Did Santa bring you everything you dreamed of?
He brought me a bowl game with you.
Oh, how sweet.
Short kick here after the 15-yard penalty at the end of that touchdown. Returned by Kenny Johnson, who wiggles out across the 35, and good starting field position for this Pitt offense.
Yeah, and Des Reed, who we talked about pretty much the entire first quarter and the entire second quarter, Matt, he's had 14 touches already. Of the 29 plays, okay, this Pitt offense has run, he's touched the ball 14 times. Think he's an important part of your offense? Goodness gracious. David Lynch didn't think he'd throw 13 times to start this game this early, but he's been impressive. Big kid, 6'3", 225 pounds.
Lynch. Intercepted. Picked up by Toledo's Nasir Bowers. Pick 6. And it's Braden Alls taking it to the house.
Just doesn't even see Braden Alls on this play. Remember, Alls is sliding from nickel to safety, right, for this game because Max and Hook is not playing. And because of that, he's sliding inside right to the flat and just a freshman mistake, if you will, by David Lynch.
Team leading 4th interception this year by Braden Alls. Extends the Toledo lead to 8.
And getting turnovers for this defense this season has been really difficult for whatever reason. They've just struggled to get them, and certainly to score on defense. When you do that, it certainly increases your chance to win a football game. And they have been turning the ball over, really, Matt, offensively way too much this year. So for them to be able to be in a position to get a turnover, get points off it, it takes a lot of stress off of Tucker Gleason in this offense. That was huge.
Braden Alls, just a sophomore from Toledo Central High School in Ohio. Mainly a special teamer last year, but with all the departures in the secondary at the end of last season for Toledo, got his chance to become a starter. He has shined in 2024.
No, he's made a lot of plays this year. I go back to that Eastern Michigan game that you and I called. It was a really fun one. Came down to a Hail Mary at the end of the game, but Braden Alls in that game had 10 tackles and really came onto the scene and showed his versatility by playing the nickel spot and also being able to slide in and play a little bit of safety, which he's doing here today.
2 huge plays by Toledo. 67-yard touchdown reception to the house by Junior Vandeross. And the very next play after the kickoff, a pick six for Braden Alls. And now Toledo has flipped it, and they lead 20-12.
And we'll find out how David Lynch responds here, because that's a tough one, right? I mean, your first start ever, things get off to a nice start for David Lynch. You know, they had the lead, and then, of course, you throw a pick six. How do you come back and respond in this drive?
Yeah, guys, David Lynch was obviously very frustrated with himself after that play. He took a very quick look at the play on the tablet with Cade Bell, got a bunch of pats on the back from teammates, and went right back out there.
I'll be curious to see how much more they go right back to him, as they go to Des Reed, and he's going to get a 15-yarder tacked on as a face mask there by Avery Smith, number 12.
Seems to be the only way to bring him down on first
You can't bring him down. I'm telling you right now, unless you have 2 or 3 blue jerseys in the frame.
Number 12, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
How many times? And you got to go high. You're grabbing a face mask. You're just trying to get him on the ground. He is so slippery, man.
Well, getting him back for this bowl game, massive for a Pitt team that, as you mentioned, is also without Kanate Mumfield, their leading receiver. Was down their starting quarterback, Eli Holstein. Competing here in Detroit with Toledo. Carried to Juelz Goff. He turns ahead for 3.
The other thing that I would do if I'm Pitt and Cade Bell, their offensive coordinator, is consider one thing they did in the red zone, which is bring Julian Duggar into the game as a potential running quarterback. Showed some athleticism, versatility as well. I would throw everything at Toledo in this game and make them consider a bunch of options on offense.
Pressure off the edge. Chasing down Lynch, and they got there. DeAndre Reagan on the Toledo defensive line with the sack.
Reagan's just a consistent dude, shows up, lunch pail type of player, and is going to get his 4th sack of the year. Check that, 4.5 sacks now on the season for DeAndre Reagan. Excuse me.
And it brings up 3rd and 18. Back to Reed, and he is wrapped up by Darius Alexander. Another 6th-year senior on that D-line.
Wow, this game has had some ebbs and flows, has it not? It felt like Toledo got off to this great start, which they did. They go down the field, and then what happens? Block PAT for 2 points, and then momentum shifts to Pitt. Pitt comes back, they take the lead, feel like they're just going to run away with this thing, and then all of a sudden, a spark was lit with this Toledo offense, and now the defense is responding accordingly.
Dustin, they scored, Toledo, 14 points in 14 seconds between the 60-yard touchdown reception and the 40-yard pick six. And now Bryson Hammer will return from inside his own 30. And he is swallowed up.
Here's the 2 scores, man. 14 seconds. You've got your stopwatch. Well, first off, this was a 67-yard touchdown reception by Vandeross here. And then they come right back. Pick six, Braden Alls. House call, 42 yards. And now they've got the ball back. I mean, this was a 12-6 game, Matt. 5 minutes of game time ago. I mean, this thing is flipped dramatically.
Tucker Gleason now with an 8-point cushion, 5 minutes to go in the first half. And finally, we see Jaquez Stewart back on the field for the Rockets.
Yeah, he's one of those guys with the injuries he's faced all year. They try to give him more opportunities earlier in the game as he's fresher, and you know, you're battling an ankle lower body injury. You want to get those carries in early.
Gleason over the middle, hits Vandeross. Nice gain on second down, makes it 3rd and manageable after the tackle by Javon McIntyre.
And so a big 3rd down and 3 here too, especially you're looking at the clock, 4 and change to go.
Gleason will keep it. And the quarterback draw, and he plows ahead for a first down. And for more on Tucker Gleason, Harry Lyles.
Yeah, guys, they're piecing together a drive here, and that's actually not the only thing that Tucker Gleason likes to piece together. One of his favorite hobbies is actually building Legos. He recently finished a Harry Potter castle a week or so ago. That's 2,600 pieces. He told me he doesn't quite have the money to fund the hobby. Apparently, that Harry Potter castle ran him about $150. So hopefully Tucker got some Legos for Christmas yesterday.
Man, impressive stuff.
A man of many talents. Now he takes a shot down the field. And incomplete. He was looking for Jaquez Stewart. No, I take that back. He was looking for Zymarian Lang, the freshman.
My son got the Home Alone house for Christmas, you know, the Lego set. And I'm not sure exactly how many pieces that one is. It's probably around whatever that Harry Potter one was. These Lego sets are not cheap, man.
Tucker Gleason's family is very interesting. His dad, Jim, was a linebacker and a kicker at MIT in the 90s. Savon Clark on the carry. It'll be 3rd and long for Tucker Gleason and this Toledo offense.
You say he's part of the card counters from MIT, too?
If that were the case, I think he could afford more Lego sets.
No doubt.
But what a tough kid,
yeah,
Dustin.
He
he's
is.
Battled injury most of the second half of this year.
I mean, just look how big and physical he is. 245. I don't know anybody on that defense that really wants to take him on in the open field.
3-man rush on 3rd and 9. Gleason buying time. Gleason leaning ahead. And his bench loved that effort after the tackle by Isaiah Neal.
I love it, too.
You got to go for it here, right, if you're Toledo?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Gleason, first off, he holds onto the ball as long as he possibly can, trying to find anybody, but then he realizes it'd be a poor decision to take a shot over the middle where all the defenders are at. And he sees the line to gain, and he sees 3 pit defenders. And he doesn't slide, doesn't get out of bounds. He lowers the shoulder to pick up maybe an extra 1.5 yards, which now puts him in a position, Matt, on 4th and 2 to be able to go for it, and maybe a timeout potentially here as the clock is running down by Candle. Yep.
That'll be their first.
Timeout. Toledo. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Big 4th and 2 here for Jason Candle's team, who has a chance to go up a couple of scores going into halftime with Pitt receiving the ball out of the break. And if you're the Pitt Panthers defense, to get a stop here, you get great starting field position and have a chance to decrease the deficit before you get the ball coming out of halftime.
Yeah, and if I'm Jason Candle, I just look at what happened on that 3rd and 3, where you went to an empty set and it was Tucker Gleason design quarterback run. With that momentum and that size and that frame of Gleason, I would go right back to it again, too, here on 4th and 2, but they decide after the timeout to punt the football.
Wow. Surprised?
I would say a little bit, but here's the thing. If you don't get it, you have all this momentum from those 2 recent touchdowns. Why give it all back to Pitt?
Sure.
Risk versus reward.
Maybe a bit greedy the day after Christmas to go for it on 4th and 2. It's Duran punting it away. High end-over-end kick. Oh, and a bobbled ball ultimately secured by Desmond Reed. And so Pitt forward to it. And a lot of questions going into that next round of the playoff. Of course, Georgia with the biggest. No Carson Beck, playing with a backup quarterback, just like Pitt is here this afternoon. David Lynch back onto the field trying to lead a 2-minute drive. Hands it off to Desmond Reed. And tackled out of bounds by Avery Smith. 2 timeouts here for Pitt. They're going to get the football out of halftime. How aggressive are you here?
Very aggressive. What do you have to lose? I mean, trying to end the losing streak. And oh, by the way, this may be the chance, the opportunity to potentially get your boy Ben Sauls that 66-yard attempt if they can get it out near midfield.
And you're just jonesing for a Ben Sauls deep shot.
I need some more Ben Sauls.
As
50+ yard kicks.
The chains. Well, Ben Sauls does have 5 made field goals of 50+ this season. Of course, he made a 57-yarder earlier today. They will go to the ground again with Reed. Time still ticking away here. Pitt with 2 timeouts and 90 seconds to play with to close out the first half. Bubble screen for Reed is blown up immediately.
Boy, Dixon is having himself a nice afternoon. Had that great blitz on Holstein earlier in the game that nearly led to a scoop and score. And then right there, a huge tackle on the outside. It's going to put Pitt in a tough spot, 3rd and 8. And if you're Toledo, you're thinking about maybe getting the ball back here as well.
They bring pressure. Lynch feels it. And airmails it over the middle. Almost intercepted by Avery Smith after running into his own man, Nasir Bowers. But that not only brings up 4th down, it stops the clock. Toledo will get it back with 2 timeouts.
Yeah, and you're right. Those extra timeouts are going to be crucial. As you'll see, 21 run right into 12. And that's going to be a tough one to make that pick. You know, Avery Smith is coming across. He's got his hands on the ball, and it's like, come on, Bowers, help me out, man. I'm trying to make a play. I've been there many times. Mike Doss, you know who I'm talking to.
You mentioned it earlier, Dustin Fox,
The All-American.
former Ohio State Buckeye. All the moving pieces in the Toledo secondary today without Max and Hook, they've looked really good.
They have. They like the first drive, I thought they were a little uncomfortable. They've settled in since. And I think Avery Smith has done a great job there on the outside.
Hammer with Rowe. Hammer out across the 50. And great starting field position for the Toledo Rockets after a return of 31. And a flag came in late. Jason Candle irate on the Toledo sideline.
Yeah, Hammer is able to break the contain here and get on the outside. And I think the flag's going to be on Holler. 39.
Officials conferring here. Ron Hudson pretty active on the mic in the first half. Here he is again.
There are multiple fouls on the play, both on the return team. Holding, number 21, return team. That penalty is declined. Legal block in the back, number 39, return team. That penalty is enforced, 10 yards, first down, Toledo.
Double whammy, and it negates Bryson Hammer's 31-yard punt return and backs Toledo way up to just inside their own 20-yard line.
And at this point, I think you just sit on the football. You go to halftime. You're thrilled with the 20-12 lead. You're thrilled with the fact that your special teams has played well. Your offense has played well. Your defense is really playing well. Like, how often do you have a game where all 3 phases are clicking in the first half? I think you're thrilled to take those 244 yards of total offense into the half with the 20-12 lead.
That's going to be a false start on Zymarian Lang, the freshman wide receiver.
False start, number 8, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
No, but I agree with you. Jason Candle, particularly with the way the end of the first quarter and beginning of the second quarter began for his team. Trailing, Pitt seemed to have the momentum, and then they scored 2 touchdowns in 14 seconds and have totally flipped the script on Pitt here. They have another pre-snap whistle.
False start, number 34, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
If we ever get
This is
to
like my
halftime.
son playing Madden against me, and I'm winning, and he just wants to like mess with me, so he just takes false start after false start or whatever, delay a game, you know. I'm kidding. Eventually the false start's going to be half the distance to the goal here.
Pretty close to the goal line here. Gleason on his own 5 gives it off to Wallensack, who will now give Toledo some room. And that should take us to halftime here in Detroit. Interesting to see how Pitt responds coming out of halftime. They will get the football. Have dropped 5 in a row after beginning their season 7-0 against the Toledo team that came in hungry to take down their second Power 4 team this year, having already beaten Mississippi State in early September. And the Rockets will take a 20-12 lead into the break.
Yeah, and that young man right there, Des Reed, he's going to go in at halftime here and probably need to get all the fluids he can get, all the orange slices. Like, remember when we were kids at the soccer games? Get those orange slices in, you get ready to go for the second half, because if they're going to come back and win this game, it's going to be on the shoulders, I believe, of Des Reed.
Well, certainly Tucker Gleason for Toledo did everything he could in the first half. Led a couple of touchdown drives, capped off by that 67-yard touchdown catch and run by Junior Vanderos. And his head coach is...
He may need another 95 to get back in this game.
Well, you talk about the passing attack, of course, it goes without saying. That is affected by the fact that Eli Holstein is not in the lineup, out with injury again. Instead, it's the walk-on redshirt freshman David Lynch making his first career start.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised with how much they put on his plate to start the game. This is going to be a very telling drive here to start the second half if Pitt can get back in this one.
Pitt receiving the kickoff to start the second half. By the way, first half stats brought to you by Huggies. And now we will see David Lynch, whose head coach Pat Narduzzi visited with Harry Lyles coming out of the halftime locker room.
Yeah, guys, I asked him about what his thoughts were on that first half. He said, look, we did a lot of self-inflicted wounds. He said, if we take this second half, play our best ball, take care of the football, we will be okay. I asked him about David Lynch and how he's feeling about him. He said, look, he's a young quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. Our emphasis to him was to just keep his composure. We'll see if we see that here in the second half.
Well, that's great stuff, Harry. I mean, look, this is a guy that hadn't taken a snap until the second to last week of the regular season, but getting that type of running game going from Desmond Reed certainly takes the load off of David Lynch.
There's no question. And if I am Cade Bell, their offensive coordinator, I'm going right back to Des Reed as much as I possibly can, because Toledo can't get this guy on the ground. You know, I'd like to see at some point, and they may not do it, I'd like to see a direct snap to Des Reed. And just
wildcat.
Yeah, and just say, you know what? You pick a gap and go. You know what I mean? And just allow the football to be in his hands and make Toledo stop him.
Lynch will dump it down to Reed. And it brings up third and about medium after the tackle by Jaden Dott. There's Reed, an All-American in his first season at the FBS level. 6th in the country in all-purpose yards, Dustin, doing it, running the football and catching it.
Yeah, he really does do it all, and first couple of touches to start this second half. Would not be surprised here again on 3rd and 4 to see Zero have the football.
Fake it to him. Lynch under duress. Long throw is intercepted. Jaden Dotton picks it off for Toledo.
Just a forced throw on the outside by David Lynch. Yeah, he doesn't have to force this football. He could have collected himself, and frankly, I think he may have been able to outrun Bolden there if he sticks that right foot in the ground and kind of bursts more on the outside. Instead, he forces the throw, an easy interception, and Cade Bell right there is very frustrated.
Passing attack has been such a huge part of what this offense does. We saw it when Eli Holstein and this offensive line was healthy. Pitt starting 7-0. Top 15 passing attack hasn't quite been there for this group since the Holstein injury, and that's the second interception today for David Lynch. And now great starting field position for Tucker Gleason and Toledo. And Gleason's going to get punished after what looked like sort of a bobbled play there from the jump. Loss of a handful. And they're behind the sticks on 2nd and down.
No, you're right. That was a very clunky start to a play that didn't appear to be the play design. I wasn't sure exactly what happened there, but nonetheless, a Pitt defense that just absolutely stifles Gleason, and a big loss.
Top 5 in the country again this year in tackles for loss and sacks. Gleason's going to air it out. Deep shot looking for Newton. In double coverage and some. Incomplete 3rd and 16.
Yeah, there's a lot of white jerseys out there around Newton, 3 to be exact. And what's funny is Newton had them all beat. You know, if that football has a little bit more air underneath it and you allow Newton to run another couple of yards, he may have caught that for a touchdown. See that excellent speed and size of Juwan Newton.
Pitt defense trying to get off the field on 3rd and long, something they struggled to do during their 5-game skid to close out the regular season. Screen pass going nowhere. A lot of pressure up the middle, and it will force a punt. After the interception, Pitt will get it back.
Brandon George, 30, is the one that comes right up the middle on a little bit of a delayed blitz. And they had the perfect call, Matt, lined up. I mean, the screen to Walzak on the outside would have been perfect and probably pick up the 1st down, but because of that pressure by Brandon George to just throw off the timing, it allows the Pitt defense to get off the field, and they survive. They escape the interception, the mistake by the young quarterback Lynch.
Rand gets it away with some pressure from this Pitt punt return team. Reed's going to field it off the hop, and this time is swallowed up. A rarity as a flag was down back near where the ball was initially booted away.
Yeah, there were 2 players, one from Toledo, one from Pitt. They were like on the ground at about the 30-yard line where the punt took place. 2 flags on the ground and a conversation to ensue.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Personal foul. Leaping, number 16, receive team. That penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot and automatic 1st down. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 93, kicking team. Number 16, receiving team. Those will offset. After enforcing the 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, it'll be 1st and 10.
Wow.
Did you get all that?
Here's what I got. Toledo's ball. Which is a huge, huge blow for the Pitt Panthers. The leap right there in the middle. You can't jump over the personal protector. That is a relatively newer rule that they enforce. And there's the after.
Both guys.
Just both guys. Yeah. Just knock it off. Well, yeah, that's what you got to say to your kids sometimes. Like, just knock it off.
You're right, though. Huge penalty for Pat Narduzzi's team, who forced a 3rd and 16 and got off the field, blowing up a screenplay. Now Toledo's got it at midfield and a fresh set of downs.
Boy, everything has gone Toledo's way.
And Jaquez Stewart back into the game. Another thing going Toledo's way. Saw a lot of him in the 1st quarter. He's a guy that has battled injury throughout the course of the season, but when healthy, Dustin has been one of the best players in the match.
No question. We'll see. Does he have a burst here to start the 2nd half? They're going to motion him out wide to the left side.
Pitt showing pressure. They bring it quickly, thrown over the middle to Juwan Newton. And a bang-bang play from Gleason to Newton for a 1st down.
First down.
That's a nice play to Newton. And if you're trying to get the ball into the hands of your playmaker, something quick like that, it's a great start.
Here's Stewart. Stacked up after a gain of 2. I don't know about you, Dustin, but I have been so impressed by Tucker Gleason today. He's going for nearly 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's protected the football.
He's just a good football player, you know what I mean? Like, the guy from the quarterback position plays a lot like a fullback or a linebacker. You know, he's got a good arm. He can run. He's athletic enough to do things with his legs, and just a competitor. You know, that's what you love about this kid playing quarterback for the Rockets.
2nd and 9, feels the pressure and batted down by Isaiah Ghost Neal. And it brings up 3rd and 9.
Can you elaborate on the Ghost? Because I don't have that on my chart.
Nobody really knows, but that's his nickname, Ghost Neal. Coaches call him Ghost, teammates call him Ghost. And he was quoted in saying, "I wish I had a cooler reason for being called Ghost." It was a nickname as a young kid, and it's stuck ever since.
Very cool. I'll take it. Love it.
But a great play by Neal to bring up 3rd and 9 here. Gleason underneath. What a catch by Jawan Newton. Come on. Reaching for a first down. Now, will the spot be enough to move the chains?
It's going to be 4th down. Judging by the spot, and a quick decision by the Rockets to line up here and go for this.
Pitt defense a little bit out of position here.
And Toledo's got to make sure you're calm down here, and you don't want a false start penalty.
That catch, Newton now over 1,000 yards for the season. 4th and 1. To Wallensack. And that extra effort's going to get. Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
The spot was not great after Wallensack was stacked up.
Matt, I thought, like you, that second effort by Wallensack was going to get the line to gain, and then all of a sudden, multiple Pitt defenders come in and finish him off, and I think it is short.
Brandon George, the 6th-year captain, wearing number 30, right in the middle of that stop, if it is.
Ruling on the field, ball carrier is down short of the line to gain. First down, Pitt.
And there he is, the young man who makes the stop, Brandon George, who's a big-time leader on this defense, the 6th-year senior. Played a lot of football for the Pitt Panthers, and none bigger than this stop right here. How about that? You get him, you grab him, get him on the ground. 5 defenders come in there and help you out. Turnover on downs, a big 4th down stop.
And stop there. He's wearing special cleats this afternoon to raise awareness for his initiative called Because. When George was in high school, one of his best friends, Anthony Myers, was diagnosed with brain cancer and eventually lost his life because of it. It's inspired George to launch a campaign at the beginning of this year to help families at UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh whose children have been diagnosed with cancer. He honors the memory of his friend Anthony by helping other children. He and his teammates often visit with young patients in the oncology unit, lifting their spirits by spending time with them and signing autographs as well, guys.
That's so cool.
Here's a carry to Desmond Reed. Will get around the corner. And Harry, I love that story because Brandon George has become the calming force of this front 7 for the Pitt Panthers. When you talk to defensive coordinator Randy Bates, just nothing but glowing remarks for this young man who's back for his 6th year of college football.
Yeah, leader on this defense, and you can tell that young man is going to be successful really in whatever he does in life.
And a huge stop there. I don't think we can emphasize that enough, Dustin.
From our vantage point in the booth, and you said it right as Wallensack was giving that second effort, it was like, how did they get that stop? Just an incredible job and a great effort, not just by George, but of his teammates to pursue the ball and get him short of the line to gain.
And now the right guard, B.J. Williams, a little bit shaken up after that last play. Certainly the offensive line has dealt with its share of injuries for Pitt. Already down their left tackle, Raylan Taylor, for the season. We'll be back after this for 3rd and 1. Walked off the field under his own power, just doing a battery of tests on the Pitt sideline. Team that's already lost their left tackle for the season. Meanwhile, Julian Duggar, the true freshman, in at quarterback. Design run. will take it around the corner for a first down and more. Out near midfield on another great run by the freshman Julian Duggar. And for more on B.J. Williams, here's Harry Lyles.
Yeah, guys, you saw him doing some tests down here, running up and down the sideline. He was doing some calf raises. They also did some resistance tests on that ankle. It looked like they taped it up. It's the left one, and he told somebody in the crowd, looks like it might be a family member. He said, "I'm all right."
Now, I like this decision, Matt. We'll change of pace, right? You go with Julian Duggar, who did come into the game earlier, but it was only in a red zone situation, a special package. I suggested, I'm like, maybe you bring him in out in the midfield area. Like, why not? An added element to the game, clearly an athletic quarterback here. I like this.
Makes it to Reed and got caught up by the turf monster there on second down. Meanwhile, at right guard, it's now Jason Collier Jr. in for B.J. Williams.
You empty the bag of tricks with whatever you got right now. And how about this set?
Reed in motion. Duggar keeps. Check that. It is Kenny Johnson on the Wildcat, squirting right up the middle.
I was going to say, it didn't look like number 12 in there. I did see the 2, but looked a little bit of a slighter frame as Johnson sneaks in there. I don't even know if Toledo maybe caught that. And a great run by Kenny Johnson, the wide receiver, playing a little Wildcat quarterback.
Duggar drops it and gathers. And the lefty zips a completion to Kenny Johnson. That's the first of his collegiate career.
How about that? And the poise of the young man to, drop the snap, picks it up, and calmly just throws a beautiful throw on the outside to Johnson.
There's a young man from Pittsburgh, won a state championship in basketball at Penn Hills High School. They love his poise. On the toss to Reed. And a good drive going here, initiated by Julian Duggar.
I just smile every time Des Reed gets the ball. It's positive yards. He just runs with this fluidity and ease that just is so much fun to watch, and it looks like he's moving at a different speed than everybody else in the blue jersey.
20 carries for 117 yards, his fourth 100-yard rushing performance of the season. Duggar on the fake and gets close to the line to gain after the tackle by Nasir Bowers.
Get Des Reed on the perimeter.
This is the best drive we've seen from Pitt since midway through the first half. And
really, Matt, they have thrown everything at this Toledo defense. Lynch was in there to start the drive, and you bring in Duggar, go a little Wildcat.
Take the pitch, Duggar, end zone, touchdown, Panthers! Jake Overman with his first touchdown of the season. There is a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Result of the play, touchdown. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, Pitt, number 74, Toledo, number 4. Those penalties offset. That's both players' first unsportsmanlike of the game towards disqualification.
What a drive led by Julian Duggar. And now after the penalty, they're going to keep Pitt out there to go for 2.
Yeah, those penalties will offset, so it doesn't back up the try here. And if you're wondering how it's a 2-point game, well, if you missed the first drive of the game by Toledo, they score. The PAT's blocked, return for 2 points by the Panthers. And so here they're trying to tie this thing up.
And they bring David Lynch back in at quarterback. Interesting here after we saw Julian Duggar on a couple of goal line packages early in the game at QB.
And this is an interesting set here.
So Terrence Enos's helmet came off at the end of that play. He initially came off the field. They said he did not have to because of the penalty situation. So Isaiah Montgomery goes back off, and the starting right tackle Enos comes back in for an all-important 2-point conversion. Lynch, quick throw. It's Bartholomew tying the game for the Pitt Panthers.
Beautiful play design, and clearly something that the Panthers had worked on. You want to have that, you know, that Rolodex of what, 2 to 3 plays of perfect 2-point conversion attempts, and a great play there by the Panthers. Going back to the touchdown, here's Duggar. A little unnecessary after the play, but great touchdown catch. First one, you mentioned it, Matt, by Overman, the transfer from Oregon State. And then you go back to the other tight end, Bartholomew, who they'd like to get a little bit more involved in the offense. Great job, great response, and boy, here the roller coaster ride of emotions for both squads continues.
That was a heck of a drive by this Pitt offense that has struggled in this game, save for those 2 early drives in the first quarter, one resulting in a touchdown, the other in a 57-yard field goal. Dustin, it just felt like they desperately needed something like that.
Yeah, and the change of pace, as you mentioned, Matt, is huge. And then now I think it probably gives Cade Bell a little more confidence here in terms of game planning for the rest of this ball game specifically, because you feel confident that you can put either one of those guys in the game. And then also from Toledo's standpoint, you've got to be aware as to which quarterback is in the game. And oh, by the way, could it be a wide receiver or wildcat?
Watch out for Jaquez Stewart on the return, stiff-arming a man out across the 40. Explosive 40-yard return by the preseason All-MAC honoree.
Let's take a look at this run. I mean, he's really untouched and shows off that speed getting to the outside. A good block and a lead block by Jerwan Newton. That's your top wide receiver who's out there. Now he's blocking kicker, but his teammates won't mention that. Nonetheless, a great start here for this drive. Great starting field position.
Tied at 20, Tucker Gleason keeps and loses the football.
Come on.
And it's picked up by Pitt. P.J. O'Brien wins it back for the Panthers.
Wow.
A staple on special teams over the last 3 years. Finally this year getting a chance as a senior to start, making a huge play to win it back for Pitt.
And it's just so interesting that this game has taken this form. You know, both teams had momentum, and then it's a miscue by Pitt, a pick 6. Right, and then here you go, another turnover now to give the ball back to Pitt at near midfield.
First turnover of the game by Toledo sets up great field position for Julian Duggar, Desmond Reed, and his Panthers offense. This game has seen a handful of momentous swings both sides, and now Pitt with some juice here. 6:20 to go in the third.
Well, you and I had the sense that this game would come down to the end. It would be a 4-quarter battle. Both teams are very, very evenly matched, and the way that their seasons have gone, both teams really need and want this game.
Duggar fakes, buying time, finds Bartholomew. First down and more for the honorable mention All-ACC tight end, and a first down for Pitt.
And what a job here by Julian Duggar to avoid the pressure and then to escape off to his right and have the poise and just a calm demeanor to throw that pass on the edge to Bartholomew.
Wildcat again for Johnson, gives to Reed. turning the corner. Reed's helmet ripped off, and that will be, I believe, the third face mask penalty on Toledo, trying to bring Desmond Reed down.
It's the only thing that you can get a hand on with this guy because he's so slippery. And you got to wonder, his helmet just keeps coming off so easily. Remember back in the day, you're too young for this. Remember the players who wear the tearaway jerseys? Is he wearing like a tearaway helmet? Because it pops off every time.
Automatic first down.
Well, Harry Lyles talked earlier about his toughness
allowed to stay in the game due to the helmet foul.
and his chippiness, the chip with which he plays on his shoulder. If you asked him, he'd probably want to keep playing without the helmet on.
He would, by the way, keep playing with the helmet off. But clearly a very vicious grab by Blake. And Des Reed, little guy in stature. He's like Scrappy Doo.
Standing over, he gives him a hug at the end of that one.
Fired up. This guy's so much fun to watch.
Has already committed to coming back for another season at Pitt next year after transferring over from Western Carolina. And Pitt inside the red zone on back-to-back drives. 1st and 10. Duggar under pressure, escaping, and the ball is loose. And I believe Pitt is on top of it. Jason Collier Jr., the backup right guard, right place, right time to keep it in the Panther possession.
And that's one of those decisions that Duggar has to do a better job of protecting the football. You're escaping off to the right side. You're trying to, get the ball in position to throw it away here. And the ball's in that left hand, and he drops it to the ground and loses it. And, really just lucky.
Great pursuit
right there. Yeah,
by Deshaun Holt.
Holt was all over him. They're lucky to have the football back here.
Now Ron Hudson is asking
After
for the
discussion, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Pitt's ball.
Now, Pitt went to the sideline, so did Toledo, thinking that play was going to be reviewed. Didn't need further review, confirmed as called, and it remains 2nd and 22. Pitt already in field goal range.
And they're in field goal range when they cross the 50.
Ben Saul's an absolute weapon in the special teams game, has already hit from 57 today. 2nd and long. Duggar on the move. Duggar making men miss. And you got to love that effort by the freshman, making it 3rd and much more manageable.
2nd and 22. You do a quarterback draw to pick up about 11, I'm going to call it 10 yards. Much more manageable situation here for Julian Duggar. And Cade Bell, there he is, looking at the Waffle House menu.
One of the youngest offensive coordinators in the country.
What's he going to order up here on this 3rd and 12?
31 years old, tied at 20, less than 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. Pitt knocking on the door again. Pressure off the edge. Duggar incomplete. In between Zion Fowler-El and Poppy Williams.
Toledo was not going to allow Duggar to have time to throw that football. The pressure too much. And frankly, Narduzzi maybe just be thinking, whew, glad we escaped that. Now let's get Ben Sauls out here to tack on 3.
This from 37. He is perfect this year between 30 and 39 to take the lead. Wobbling kick, but it is through the uprights, and the Panthers lead 23-20 and some chippiness after that play.
This has been going on, Matt, since the pregame, and now every flag you can find is being thrown on the field.
Malachi Thomas, the freshman tight end, was in there scrapping it up with a couple of Toledo players. Deshaun Holt was in there for the Rockets. This is how it started before we even kicked off. If you remember, both teams coming out the same tunnel for warm-ups, and they got to scrapping before they even hit the field.
I told Harry Lyles on the sidelines before the game, I said, partner, they've got one entrance to this field. And Harry and I were talking about how, Ohio State, Michigan up there in Ann Arbor,
the field goal
both teams come out the same tunnel.
After the play was over, flagrant unsportsmanlike conduct, number 10, Toledo, he is ejected.
Wow.
Media timeout.
That is the 6th-year senior DeAndre Reagan, who has just been thrown out of this football game for Jason Candle. We will talk about that in more detail when we return. Panthers lead 23-20. Well, this is what started the afternoon here in Detroit before we even came out to kick it off. Prior to warm-ups, both teams coming out of the same tunnel. Some chippiness both ways. And then this was the last play that resulted in the ejection of DeAndre Reagan. Multiple players were in the middle of the scrap, but it was Toledo's DeAndre Reagan who was ultimately thrown out of the game. And Toledo will be without one of their best front 7 defenders for the rest of the afternoon.
And it's just an unfortunate way to end the season as a senior. Harry, what you got, man?
Guys, between the two teams, there's been tensions, but there was also a lot of tension over here on this Toledo sideline. Junior Vanderos was very upset with the fumble by Tucker Gleason on the last possession. I can tell you things were very heated over here, and this is a pretty important possession for the chemistry, I think, of this football team.
Wow.
That's great stuff here.
That's very telling. And Gleason has been playing his tail off.
And look, this is a game that means a lot to both teams, but I'd say even more to Toledo. A chance to knock off another Power 4 opponent for the second time this season. That hasn't been done but once in program history back in 2015, beating Arkansas and Iowa State. Gleason heaves, caught, Jerwan Newton. First down out near the 40.
Well, this is where the stars will shine. Tight ball game. Both teams want the dub, need the dub going into the offseason, and their Newton big time first down conversion. There's been so much going on. This feels like the longest third quarter ever. Extracurricular activities, turnovers.
Flip it to Jaquez Stewart. Well, ESPN Experiences is excited to announce its latest trip, Beyond the Rose, offering you the ultimate VIP Rose Bowl experience inside of one of college football's most iconic traditions. Enjoy 50-yard line seats, exclusive behind-the-scenes access to ESPN production and announcers, and much more. You can visit experiences.espn.com/Rose Bowl. Overthrown, intended for Junior Vanderos. And now 3rd and 8 for Toledo, as the jaw-jacking continues between both teams.
And Vanderos, as Harry just mentioned, is very fired up. He's a passionate player. And regardless, by the way, what happens on those sidelines, I mean, your competitors, your teammates, if you're trying to win the ball game. So I don't believe there's any bad blood on that sideline. I just think they're frustrated and they're fired up and trying to get things going.
Pressure comes from Pitt. Gleason hit. Pass is caught for a first down. Jerwan Newton with the basket catch, peeling it up off the turf.
And can we give Tucker Gleason a toughness award for this one? Because goodness, he stays in the pocket. The pressure by Cruz Brookins in the face of Gleason.
They might want to take another look at
I think it was close.
From our vantage point, which again is across the field, I thought it was close.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass. The play is under further review.
So what Dustin called the longest third quarter of the season just got a little bit longer with this next review.
I didn't want to jinx it. Apparently I've already done that on Awful Announcing today.
Nice shot.
He did it last time, by the way. I don't believe in announcer jinxes. Do you?
No.
Let's take a look at this previous catch. Was it a catch? It's not a catch, I don't think. Did it? To me, it was tough. I mean, the ball looked like it. The nose. This would be a good one.
That to me looks like the nose of the football hits the ground, and he uses that to secure the quote-unquote catch.
You know, it's hard because he's got those white gloves on, and the ball hits like on the turf right on the white yard line. It's tough to tell if there's any green underneath the football.
Obviously a huge call here.
Catch on the field, so
if it's complete, it's a first down. If it's not, it's 4th and long, and the punt unit likely coming out for Toledo.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down at the 49-yard line.
It's just what a grab by your leading wide receiver to keep this drive alive for the Rockets.
Yeah, great effort by Jawan Newton. He reciprocates the love to his quarterback, who stood in the pocket, delivered the throw, and converts. Keeps the drive alive.
Less than 2 minutes to go in the third. Ball at midfield for Toledo. Out to Vander Ross, and that one-hopped him. Incomplete. Gleason over the middle and almost intercepted. Intended for Vander Ross. And it was Cruz Brookins in there to break it up.
Gleason is forcing a couple of these throws in the last 2 drives that got to make you a little nervous if you're Jason Candle. Now 3rd and 10. In comes Jacquez Stewart at the running back position, and you know, a lot of times when they've run this formation, they end up motioning Stewart out as a wide receiver. We'll see if they go back to it. Now you're going to have the play clock is at 0.
They get a timeout in there first,
or they're going to push it.
Prior to the delay of game, timeout, Toledo, their first of the half.
You can see Jason Cannell not pleased he had to burn that, but at least he was standing right next to one of the officials as the play clock was winding down.
Well, the substitution forced them to take that timeout because they had to allow the defense to get back in. Matt, you have something for us?
I do, partner. You can kick off your Week 17 NFL Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, with the Countdown crew on ESPN and the app. They'll have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, previews of each game right up to kickoff. And of course, our next Monday Night Football game, huge game for the Detroit Lions. Right now tied atop the NFC North with Minnesota at 13-2. If they win that game and Minnesota loses their next game, they will clinch the North for back-to-back seasons. 3rd and 10 here at Ford Field in Detroit. Gleason is intercepted. Cruz Brookins wins it back for the Panthers. Still going. And the redshirt freshman has one heck of a return on his own sideline.
Only a matter of time until this Pitt defense able to capitalize. The pressure gets home. Sincere Edwards with the pressure, and then in the back end, Cruz Brookins It looks like an offensive player there, the way he returns the football. And the slam on the turnover basket.
Converted quarterback from Steel Valley High School in Pittsburgh, showing those return skills.
All the nuggets there. Yeah,
well, it sets up great field position for Julian Duggar in this Pitt offense. Desmond Reed making one-man miss. He is Houdini in the backfield for Pitt.
Matt, Darius Alexander, number 9, had Des Reed dead to rights in the backfield, and then it's like he just somehow squirts out for a positive gain of 8. This guy, I can't wait to see him on Sundays. Pitt fans are excited they'll get him on another Saturday next year.
Fake it to him on a jet sweep. Duggar, first down run, and some more extracurriculars after the play sends Duggar to the turf.
Isn't it amazing you can find players anywhere? This kid is just so special. Western Carolina to Pitt, to the FBS, to Power 4, to one of the most dynamic playmakers really in the entire country. I mean, I would put him up against anybody. If you've watched college football this year, he could play for anybody.
The only player in college football with at least 500 rushing and 500 receiving yards, closing in on a career day in a Pitt Panther uniform. Desmond Reed, Julian Duggar and company leading a physical battle here in Detroit as we head to the 4th, and the Panthers hanging on to a 3-point lead. Here in the Motor City, 23-20 lead for Pitt. As we take a look at today's clutch delivery, brought to you by Chipotle. A 10-play, 71-yard drive, Dustin Fox, for Pitt's opening score of the second half.
And they changed it up. They brought Julian Duggar in, and it gave that extra element of the ability to run from the quarterback position. They go with a little wildcat. That's Kenny Johnson. They go down the field for a terrific touchdown drive. And here comes Duggar again.
Lefty's going to take it with his legs, making 2 Toledo Rockets miss. Pitt with excellent starting field position after the interception by Tucker Gleason.
And they're looking for more points off of a turnover. You know, the last time they end up with 3, now looking for 7. Remember, Toledo got the 7 points off their pick 6, so the Panthers trying to respond.
Double reverse goes to Kenny Johnson with the convoy. Johnson inside the 10, and it's 1st and goal Pitt.
Kate Bell's feeling himself now a little bit. I love it because he knows he's got some options offensively. He can get Kenny Johnson more involved, which he has with some of the wildcat stuff there on the reverse. You've got Duggar, who obviously can run the football, but has proven that he can throw it as well. And if you'd like to go back to a more pro-style offense, heck, you bring David Lynch back in the game.
Lynch, the walk-on redshirt freshman, started the game. It's been Duggar lately, and he is brought down in the backfield. Martez Pointer at the point of attack. And again, this Toledo front 7 playing the rest of the game without DeAndre Reagan, who is ejected for excessive unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's a good point. And now you've got more depth being used in this game. Martez Pointer in there makes a nice play. 5-yard loss and backs up the Panthers.
2nd and 15. Duggar zips it, caught, touchdown Pitt, Poppy Williams. Second passing touchdown of the day for the freshman Julian Duggar, who had not taken a snap in college before this afternoon.
And this is one of those plays that Kate Bell and Pat Narduzzi are like, no, 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 yes, great play. Because Duggar was under pressure. He steps up in the pocket, and this thing opened up wide open, where he could have easily run inside probably the 5-yard line, inside the 10-yard line. You're thinking that's a nice conservative play, and then he, I would say, forces it, but didn't force it because he made the great throw and catch, but it was between a few defenders, and he really had to get it in a very tight window, and he did. Great throw. And this game has just been so interesting. A back and forth roller coaster ride of emotions for both sidelines. And right now, everything is coming up Panther.
18 straight points for the Panthers, their largest lead of the afternoon. The Gameabove Sports Bowl the day after Christmas here at Ford Field by 10. 18 unanswered by the Pitt Panthers. Returned by Toledo. It is Jaquez Stewart turning the corner. There goes Stewart. And an excellent play by Ben Sauls, the kicker.
What can't Ben Sauls do?
Forcing the 10.33 100-meter track star out of bounds.
This guy can kick from 60 plus. Show some speed there, getting Stewart to the sidelines there. Give him credit, had a little bit of an angle there too, but impressive. If he's able to get that edge, Matt, I mean, that could have been a house call for the Rockets.
Big drive here for Toledo, down 10. Pressure up the middle. Gleason underneath to Vander Ross. Vander Ross out towards midfield. And a gain of 20 plus for the second leading receiver out of Tampa.
That's a heck of a effort after the catch by Junior Vander Ross. Able to catch the football, stick that right foot in the ground, and picks up an extra 5 or so yards for the first down.
Here's the Georgia transfer, Savon Clark, rumbling ahead for 7. Tackled by Rasheem Biles. Now, Dustin, you look at the last 3 drives for Toledo. Turnover on downs, fumble, interception. The momentum squarely in Pittsburgh's favor. A huge drive here for the Rockets.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know, the way this game has gone, a lot can still happen. If Toledo's able to get points here, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, it's still a very tight ball game here with about 12 minutes to go. And this Pitt defense, take a look at those last 5 drives. You just hit on it, Matt. At the turnover on downs, the fumble, the interception, and most importantly, no points.
Junior Vander Ross shaken up after that play. He will come off for at least 1 play. 3rd and 9. Gleason with pressure, batted down by Rasheem Biles. And a 4th down ensues for Toledo.
And it's unfortunate for the Rockets, but you probably have to punt this football. Because if you don't get this 4th and 9, you've almost gifted Pittsburgh 3 points. Say that a little sarcastically. Ben Sauls can kick from darn near anywhere on that Gameabove Sports Bowl logo.
Really have to credit this Pitt defense, particularly the secondary, which gave up 197 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in the first half. We're going to have a whistle before the punt here. But Dustin, in the second half, they've given up less than 60 yards through the air.
Delay a game, kicking team, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And that was one of the question marks for Pat Narduzzi's defense this year, the secondary in particular.
Well, the front 7 has been really good. They've got a lot of experience, and those linebackers are terrific. You're right, the back end has been an area of concern. Today so far, especially in the second half, held up well.
Kenny Johnson spins out of 1 tackle, not the second. And it'll be Pitt football when we return. They have scored 18 points in a row and lead it by 10 with 11:22 to play.
No surprise. Des Reed has done it all for this Pittsburgh offense today. 152 yards total. Okay, this guy on the ground, how about this? 24 carries for 137 yards. 4 yards receiving, 11-yard punt return. He has touched the football 29 times in this game, and we still have 11 minutes to go. The guy at his size, it just shows it right there. Like, he thinks he's in the body of a 6'5", 250-pound man.
This team leads it by 10. They've scored 18 in a row. You are watching Capital One Bowl Mania here in Detroit. Day after Christmas. Hope you had a wonderful holiday. Pitt trailed by 8 at halftime. And they've been phenomenal, Dustin, in the second half, led by the true freshman quarterback Julian Duggar. Flip it to Robinson, another freshman, and he is upended immediately.
Hello.
Damon Allison the second with the tackle.
How many players' helmets have come off in this game? Because that's a heck of a hit by 37 also.
Jason Collier, the backup right guard, playing in place of the injured B.J. Williams, going to have to come off for a play because his helmet came off. Now Jackson Brown is in. Massive series for this Toledo defense, trailing by 10, less than 11 minutes to play in regulation. And I believe this is going to back Pitt up.
False start. Number 24, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
A number of youngsters, Duggar and Robinson included, getting extra run today for Pat Narduzzi's team, which has had their fair share of injuries, players hitting the portal at the end of the regular season, and yet they lead by 10, trying to snap a 5-game skid. And third and long upcoming.
You can tell now this offense has slowed down a little bit of that tempo. Cade Bell in his offense, they look to run as fast as they possibly can with this 10-point lead. And two young, inexperienced quarterbacks, I think you're thrilled to have the lead. Now, you may throw here on 3rd and 12, but you're still going to be maybe a little more conservative to try and close this game out.
Duggar under pressure, escapes Mutterly, using his legs. Duggar with the first down and more. How about the run by Julian Duggar? 20 to extend the drive.
Number 12 for Pitt must leave the game for one play for helmet off. First down.
We're going to play a game without helmets? Goodness, every play. But this is an incredible job by Duggar, who was nearly sacked in the backfield, escapes the pocket, and then breaks about 3 tackles to pick up the first down in 3rd and 12. Incredible effort by Julian Duggar.
Top 20 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school, played at Penn Hills in Pittsburgh. Goff on the carry, shakes through 2. Goff has a first down. How about the freshman for Pitt showing out in the second half?
It's been Goff. We've seen Julian Duggar. And heck, David Lynch at times has made some plays. Obviously the 1 pick 6, but that doesn't negate all the positive plays the kids had. Very impressed to see some of these younger up-and-coming stars perform in this bowl game for the Pitt Panthers.
Duggar, quick throw. Finds another freshman, Tyreek Robinson. Short gain after the quarterback pressure by Nasir Bowers. Clock continuing to churn on Pitt's side here with 8:30 to play. 2nd and 6. Duggar moving the pocket again. We're talking about another guy that's difficult to bring down, not just Des Reed. Julian Duggar showing his elusiveness.
So 3rd and 6 coming up. Des Reed getting out the old Theragun. Hamstring's got to be a little tight after all the carries and workload he has had to endure this afternoon.
28 touches for Reed, closing in on a season high. 3rd down. Duggar intercepted. Picked off by Darius Alexander, and there goes the big fella. House call, Toledo. 59 yards, and the Rockets are back in it in Detroit.
The twists and turns of this game have been remarkable. And we were just talking about it. You've got those young, inexperienced quarterbacks. How aggressive do you want to be with the 10-point lead? And they're on 3rd and 6. You take a shot over the middle, and we got a big man touchdown. Yeah, a thick 6. Gotta love it.
How about this for a late Christmas gift?
Yeah, well, Santa Claus is coming to town. Coming to Motown with a thick 6. Come on, big man. Get yourself some love in the house.
Pitt, whose defense has 5 TFLs, 4 sacks, 3 picks, 2 for a tutty.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
Merry Christmas. Expected nothing less between two teams, 7 and 5, hungry for a win as Tyreek Robinson is loose out to the 30. Saw Desmond Reed on the sideline just before that pick 6 by Julian Duggar, massaging his hamstring, typically the return man for Pitt. Good to see him back on the field.
All right, so here's your game plan if you're Pitt. You give the ball to number 0 every play.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is the simple way to win this ball game. This young man is special. He's the best player on the field. And when he's got the football in his hands, you get positive yards every time.
Just got that play off. Goes to Reed. Now, did they? Or was there a timeout by Pitt? Yes. Pat Narduzzi saw it winding
Prior
down.
to the snap, timeout. Pitt. Be a 30-second timeout.
So both coaches in this half have had to burn a timeout to avoid a delay of game.
And they would have got the play off, and Coach Narduzzi's probably like kicking himself. He's like, goodness gracious, we would have just got a 10-yard run.
Well, coming up later on ESPN, we continue this triple header of December 26 bowl games. In the Rate Bowl, Rutgers, Kansas State, and then the nightcap, Arkansas State and Bowling Green at 9 p.m. Eastern, all on ESPN and the ESPN app. Kay Bell has had to get creative this afternoon, rotating a pair of freshman quarterbacks, one a walk-on and the other a true freshman in Julian Duggar. Handoff to Reed, who continues to fight for extra yardage. Finally stopped by Lance Dixon after a gain of 8. And I believe that's Braden Alls down, a bit shaken up for Toledo. Remember, Alls had the first pick 6 of the game for the Rockets.
Well, he is in a lot of pain. And that would be a very big loss because you were already without Maxon Hook, your top safety, who did not play in this game as he prepares for the National Football League. So Alls had sort of moved into that safety spot, and so now you'll continue to go down, assuming he can get back in. It looks like hopefully that's, I don't know if that's a cramp or an ankle. We won't speculate, although it just did. You're going to be down your depth chart at safety.
Darius Alexander had the second pick six, talking with the defensive coordinator Vince Karras. Alls walking off gingerly. And again, for Vince Karras, not only down Maxon Hook, but they've been without Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the opposite safety, since midway through the season, which has just shaken up their secondary rotation even more this year.
That's a great point about McNeil-Warren, because he is another one of those very special, unique players in the back end for the Rockets. And not to mention, you lost a corner last year who was a top NFL draft pick in Quinyon Mitchell.
Only one returning starter in the secondary this year for Vince Karras. It was Maxon Hook. 3-year captain, 3-year first-team All-MAC recipient, not playing today, opting out, as Dustin mentioned, as he prepares for the NFL draft. So here we go, 2nd and 2. Toledo without Braden Alls. 7:17 to play in the game. It is Duggar right up the middle, gashing ahead for a first down.
I would be very surprised if the Pitt Panthers put the ball in the air much more the rest of this game. There's no need. You're able to, between Duggar and Des Reed, get positive yards on the ground almost every play.
225 combined rushing yards today for this Pitt offense. Duggar fakes the pitch. Positive yardage on first down. It's a Pitt team that is playing without their leader at quarterback, Eli Holstein, missing his second consecutive game after an injury sustained in the penultimate weekend of the regular season. And Dustin, we weren't sure what we were going to see from this Pitt offense because of that injury. But what we've seen is Julian Duggar emerge as a future star potentially in this second half.
You know what's interesting too, Matt, is David Lynch started the ballgame. I don't know how much we would have seen of Duggar outside of those special packages around the red zone had Lynch not thrown the pick six. So now you've gotten both quarterbacks into live game action where you feel pretty confident. And now I said, you don't want to put the ball in the air, right? Well, you probably have to here on 3rd and 9.
Instead, it's Duggar trying to slip through and will not. And now decision time for Pat Narduzzi.
Well, you said it, Matt. I don't know if you decide to bring out Ben Sauls, because this would be, what, 61? How's my math?
Well, it doesn't appear, as you see Braden Alls being carted off the field. That's a tough sight for the sophomore from Ohio as we send it to Harry Lyles.
Yeah, guys, it's a tough scene down here. Braden Alls obviously emotional, in tears. It looks like they had taken off the left ankle straps that he had wrapped around that ankle. Obviously an important player to this defense for what Toledo's doing.
Yeah, it's going to be a big loss here going forward. I guess the good news for the Rockets is you're able to get off the field and get the ball back to your offense here with an opportunity to potentially go win the football game.
Bryson Hammer, the deep man, former walk-on for this Toledo team, put on scholarship ahead of the season, and a very dangerous return man, as Caleb Junko was on to punt it away for Pitt. He will let this flutter into the end zone for a touchback. All right, Dustin Fox. Haven't seen a lot from Toledo's offense in the second half. Their defense has kept them in it. And now you put the football in the hands of your first-year starter, Tucker Gleason, to try and lead a drive to tie or take the lead.
Tucker Gleason is tough as nails, and we know that he can run the football. He can make some clutch throws, and he's got playmakers. You know, if you're Jason Candle in this offense, you're thinking, okay, we've got Jerwan Newton, we've got Junior Vander Ross, we've got Anthony Torres, we've got Jacquez Stewart. Okay, there's no reason we can't put together a drive here to either tie this ball game, to try to send it to overtime, or go win it.
Gleason under pressure, forces a throw, and it is caught by Junior Vander Ross.
There you go. It's a good start to the drive. Junior Vander Ross, who's had a heck of a ball game. It's an unbelievable catch. I mean, just with his hands going out of bounds, like, that's just a big time, strong catch. Brookins on the coverage.
Vander Ross with a season-high 127 yards on 7 catches. Fake to Stewart. Back out to Vander Ross. And we'll move the chains. Well, don't forget, fans at home, you can check out the ESPN app for the Capital One postgame show immediately following our game, as our bowl game triple header will continue on ESPN immediately following the conclusion of this one. It'll be Kansas State and Rutgers. 1st and 10. Pressure. Gleason almost intercepted. And a flag is down in the secondary.
And a flag down the line of scrimmage, Matt, around where Gleason took the hit.
Holding. Number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
It's on the Prairie View A&M transfer Allen Jones at left tackle. So 1st and 20 for Toledo. Trailing by 3, less than 3:30 to go and 2 timeouts. Gleason looking downfield, has his man caught. It is Junior Vander Ross again.
Man, heck of a job getting open by Vander Ross. Gleason delivers a beautiful throw. Watch this route. Zone coverage. We're going to get to McIntyre, the safety right there, who's just playing kind of like a robber position, alert, and Vander Ross wide open.
Brings up 2nd and 6
of those penalty yards back. Sorry, partner.
No doubt. Got 13 on that reception. Empty set. Gleason quick throw is broken up by the All-American Kyle Lewis.
Gleason likes playing with fire, I'll tell you that much. He's been close to throwing another interception twice now on this drive.
And it brings up 3rd and 6 from the Toledo 40.
Jerwan Newton's been quiet. He's in your slot, top of the screen.
Gleason buying time and incomplete. Intended for Jacquez Stewart. Do you go for it here if you're Toledo?
So it's an interesting question. Especially now because you have a 2-minute timeout. But I would, because you're down a timeout. It's 4th and 6. It's a 3-point game. Even if you don't get the football and Pitt gets the ball, you can still stop him and hold him to 3 into a 1-score game. So I think this is the right decision.
Pressure comes. Picked up. Gleason takes a shot. Vander Ross makes the catch. His 4th catch of the drive keeps it alive for Toledo.
Junior Vandeross is just putting the team on his back and saying, throw me the rock. I will go make a catch, make a play. I will adjust and do whatever it takes for my team to convert on 4th and 6.
Here's Stewart dancing through one tackle and no gain. Two-minute timeout looming, and it looks like that last run is going to wind us down to it. Rockets led by 8 at the half. Pitt scored 18 in a row and looked like they had the game in hand. Toledo swings back, now looking for a game-tying drive. Rockets led by 8 at the half. Pitt scored 18 in a row and looked like they had the game in hand. Toledo swings back, now looking for a game-tying drive.
Kevin Connors in studio letting you know K-State Rutgers will start over on ESPN2. Trevor, we get to see Avery Johnson.
And he keys a Kansas State rushing attack that gets most of its yards from big plays. Rutgers will have their hands full.
The Rate Bowl from Chase Field. Rutgers and K-State. Matt, after our exciting finish.
Welcome back to Detroit. 3-point game, Toledo driving, 2nd and 10, 2 timeouts left. And knocking on the door of field goal range for their freshman kicker, Dylan Cunanan. Gleason feeling the pressure, overthrowing his intended target, Junior Vandeross. Dylan Cunanan has hit from 54 this year against Bowling Green. But we have not seen him attempt a field goal today, Dustin, after he missed 3 in the regular season finale against Akron, a game in which Toledo lost in overtime.
Yeah, and he had an opportunity to walk off win that game. And so if it comes down to trying to tie this thing, we'll see.
On 3rd and 10, Gleason with all day, over the middle and incomplete. In and out of the hands of Thomas Zyros. And now decision time for Jason Candle.
Easy decision. And let's go back to the Akron game. As he was right, he was left. And then we overcorrect again. And we go right. So where's the mindset of Dylan Cunanan? The young man had an opportunity to go home. And now a chance to redeem himself.
To tie it from 51. Kick is away. It is good! Cunanan ties it from 51. Redemption for the freshman.
If you're a fan of sports, you just got to be happy for that young man, because anybody who's competed at the highest level, or any level, frankly, and you've had some adversity, it's always tough to get out of your own head and get out of your own way. And for him to be able to come out here on a huge stage and nail that kick down the middle, very impressive, and no one happier than Jason Candle for that young man, who has been really rock solid all season, Matt. But sometimes as kickers, you know, as in a lot of sports where it's so mental, right? Can you come back to neutral? Like once you go down that road of missing those kicks, you wonder if a guy gets the yips, whatever it may be. Not the case here. Cunanan nails it. And he gets that monkey off his back, too. Now we turn our attention to Pitt.
You asked Jason Candle about Dylan Cunanan coming into this game. And Jason said, look, after that game, we were gutted that we lost, but his team rallied around him and said, we will need you in our bowl game. And boy, did he deliver. As Tyreek Robinson carries it across the 20. And now can Ben Sauls, an excellent kicker with an NFL future for Pitt. could he be called upon to potentially hit the game winner for the Panthers?
Well, listen, this game has had it all. It's had turnovers, it's had big plays, it's had special teams, it's had gaffes, and we've had some big kicks too. Special teams have been a huge factor in this game. Matt, we couldn't have asked for a better game. Day after Christmas, are you kidding me? Everyone's laying around and we're watching good football. This is some good football right here between two competitive teams. They both, by the way, really want to win this game.
First snap picked up by Desmond Reed. Heady
play with Desmond Reed.
Heady play, turning what could have been a disastrous play into positive yardage.
No doubt. And if Julian Duggar is forced to fall on that ball, I mean, that would have been a 5-yard loss.
Now we've got a Toledo defender down. It's Kevon Butler. Another 6th-year nose guard up front. Remember, this Toledo defensive front without DeAndre Reagan. He was ejected from the game early in the second half. They're without Braden Alls in the secondary, who's playing in place of Maxon Hook, opted out ahead of the NFL draft. And a stoppage of play for now. And if you're just joining us, what a swing we have seen throughout the course of this game. Toledo led by 8 at the half. Pitt scored 18 in a row. Since, Toledo has responded with 10 straight. And I don't know if we have enough time to show you all the key plays. But that was a blocked PAT by the All-American Lewis. One of 2 touchdowns by the true freshman Duggar. A pick 6 by Darius Alexander, his first touchdown in his collegiate career. A thick 6, in the words of Dustin Fox. We've seen it all today, partner.
No, we haven't. I think there's going to be a little bit more drama to finish this one out. And it's also a bit of a cat and mouse game here too, with the timeouts and with the clock.
Two timeouts for Pitt, 1:21 to go. And they have a weapon in kicker Ben Salz. The toss to Reed. His offensive coordinator, Kate Bell, told us Desmond Reed's ready to carry it 30 times today. He's carried it 27 and has been the workhorse for this team.
Toledo should just take a defender and put them on the perimeter about 10 yards outside the core and say, I'm going to keep this Reed inside, because every time he gets on the perimeter, he's going to get those 5 to 7 yards. It's too easy.
3rd and 2. Duggar keeps trying to turn the pile forward. This looks like a favorable spot. We'll get the official word here momentarily. No signal yet.
Warriors forward progress was stopped after he got the line to gain. First down.
I was going to say, it looked like he easily gained the first down, but as the side judge was coming in, it appeared he was going to mark it not that favorable. So, call there by Ron Hudson, the head official.
Duggar heaves downfield and broken up. Great coverage by Nasir Bowers, as Poppy Williams was the intended target.
I want to see the contact here at the end of this play, because there was a lot of it. A lot of jersey grabbing right there, and sort of surprised there's not a call. And Bowers is right there, but there was the jersey grab and contact as Poppy Williams is trying to make a play. Little surprised to take a shot in that situation.
Duggar gets the play late here, less than 10 on the play clock. 2nd and 10, 59 seconds to go. Fakes it. Duggar with room. First down and more. Duggar out across the 45. And tackled by Jaden Totten after a gain of 18.
What a difference this RPO game makes for this offense. Having someone as athletic as Julian Duggar just gives Cade Bell another weapon. Get the other blocker in the box, and there he goes.
Reed almost wrapped up in the backfield and shoots ahead to make it a nominal loss of 1.5 yards on the tackle by Jackson Barrow.
First negative play today for Desmond Reed.
30 seconds. Timeout. Clock operator, please.
Let's check in with Kevin Connors.
And Matt, we want to let you know that over on ESPN2, the Rate Bowl is underway from Chase Field in Phoenix. 7-5 Rutgers and a Kansas State team that lost 3 of 4 games to close out the regular season, all by 10 points or fewer. Wildcats have the ball. You'll see it here on ESPN after we go final in Detroit.
Thank you very much, Kevin. As you know, the college football playoff continues with the quarterfinals on New Year's Eve. Penn State and Boise State. And then on New Year's Day, a trio of playoff games starting at 1 Eastern on ESPN with Texas and Arizona State. 2nd and 11 after the 1-yard loss by Desmond Reed. 1 timeout left for Pitt. Duggar dumps it and incomplete. Looking for Jake Overman.
Now it gets a little bit dicey here because there's 35 seconds left. 3rd and 11. If you could get 7 yards here, you could get inside range for Ben Sauls. However, if you miss, you don't want to give the ball back to Pitt with great field position. So this is going to be a very interesting call.
Whistle comes in before the play, and the timeout taken by Toledo.
Timeout. Toledo. Their second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
To your point, Ben Sauls, we've already seen him hit from 57 today. His season-long 58. Coaches told us he hit from 60-plus in practice, all leading up to the bowl game with ease. 66 is the Ford Field record by Justin Tucker. Ben Sauls wants to go for that record. Will he get the shot here to close out regulation?
Well, with Toledo taking that timeout, they've got 1 left. So whatever you do here on this 3rd and 11, you keep the clock rolling. I think you can then evaluate whether or not you want to risk attempting the kick versus how much time's left on the clock should you miss the kick. So being interesting here on 3rd and 11.
Duggar keeps and is brought down by Deshaun Holt. And now will Toledo think about calling a timeout here?
Well, if they don't, I would let this run down to 1 second and kick a 67-yard field goal. Why not?
You do run the risk of Toledo returning a short field goal with no time on the clock, but we'll see. Neither team.
I would kick it. What do you? It's a bowl game with an opportunity for a walk-off win.
Hang on a second here. Ron Hudson.
Timeout.
On the mic.
Timeout. Pitt. Their 3rd and final of the half. Be a 30-second timeout. Thank you for putting 1 second back on the clock. Timeout, Pitt.
What a polite official.
So are we going to see Ben Sauls, or are we going to see Julian Duggar or David Lynch heave one to the end zone?
Well, you call the timeout with 1 second because now you can have a conversation, at least on the sidelines. Sauls doesn't have his helmet on, so we don't know if that's an indication of them deciding to go to overtime. It would be, I mean, the smart play, honestly, would probably be to take this to overtime.
But what's the fun in that?
If the ACC title were on the line, it'd be maybe a different story, right?
Right. Well, they are not going to send Ben Sauls out for a 67-yarder. He'll have to wait, possibly for his future in the NFL, to go for the Ford Field record.
However, you do have the opportunity for a Hail Mary here. And remember, if there's a pass interference call, you could potentially get another opportunity for a walk-off winner with no time on the clock. So if you're Toledo, you got to be careful here of the contact on this Hail Mary.
Final play of regulation. Duggar goes down, a sack in the backfield by the 7th-year senior, Dan Bolden, sending us to OT in Detroit.
It's only fair that a game like this will get a little extra time, a little free football from Motown. Come on. The Rockets and Panthers 30 all. Don't go anywhere. We're not going anywhere either. Overtime here in the Motor City, tied 30 all. In a game like this, it was feels like it was meant to end in overtime. Tucker Gleason out there at midfield, representing the Rockets. We'll get the call from Rod Hudson. Excuse me.
Okay, gentlemen, welcome to overtime. Winner of the toss has the option of offense, defense, or into the field. All right? 1 timeout per overtime period. Questions? All right, you're calling it. Once again, that is a head, that is a tail. Heads, tails. What's your call?
Heads. I heard heads.
Call is heads.
Give the money. Oh.
It is a tail. You want defense. Which end of the field? All right, so it's going to be 1st and 10, Pitt at this end. Toledo won the coin toss and chose to go on defense. It will be 1st and 10, Pitt at the 25-yard line.
Here we go, Dustin Fox. Tied at 30. Toledo scored the last 10 points of regulation after Pitt scored 18 in a row to take the lead in what looked like a game that Pitt was going to run away with. Not so fast. Toledo forces overtime, and here we go. Jason Candle's team lost their final game of the regular season in overtime at Akron. The game that eliminated them from MAC title appearance contention. Meanwhile, Pitt started their season 7-0, ranked in the top 20, lost their final 5. Battling through injury, and now have true freshman quarterback Julian Duggar manning the controls. Duggar looking end zone. Desmond Reed in and out of his hands and incomplete. He's been the star all afternoon for Pitt. That close from the go-ahead touchdown.
Oh my goodness, this is not going to be I mean, you're never going to find an easier catch than this. It's right down the middle, wide open. You just got to catch the football, and he's done it all for this team today. And well, you go back. Hey, listen, it's a drop pass. It's 2nd and 10. You move on. You have to absolutely wipe that from your memory.
Toss to Reed. Makes one man miss, and then is crunched by Deshaun Holt, who has been all over it defensively today for Toledo.
And it looked like for a moment there may have been a face mask there. Couldn't exactly tell. That there's a no call, so no call on the field. But 3rd and 8 comes up here. Now your freshman quarterback most likely puts the ball back into the air. Let's see if K-Bell can dial up, and let's see if Des Reed can get that drop out of his mind and come up and redeem himself here on this 3rd and 8.
3-man rush. Duggar buying time. There goes Duggar, and scampers for a 1st down.
Veteran move by a freshman quarterback. He's got all day to throw, but a lot of times young quarterbacks will try to make a play as there's an injured Rocket, I think, down on the field, Matt. But for him to be able to take off and go, get this 1st down, you keep overtime alive. Obviously, you'd like to have points, but you don't have to settle for 3.
Darius Alexander, the Toledo defender who is down, scored on a pick six late in the second half to bring Toledo back into the game. Clearly in discomfort. And now Toledo, at least for this next play, without two of their best defensive linemen, DeAndre Reagan, who was ejected from the game for excessive unsportsmanlike conduct. They're without Darius Alexander. They're without Braden Alls, their starting safety, who exited with an injury. And they're without Maxon Hook, their three-time all-conference selection. 1st and 10 for Pitt. Swing pass to Reed. There goes the All-American inside the 5, and finally brought down after a gain of 11 and another first down.
You gotta love that Des Reed never shies away from contact. And that play was pretty much designed to go to Des Reed on a swing pass, which sort of becomes basically a toss sweep. You got blockers on the outside, and then Des just pushes the pile for the first down.
To Reed.
I think it's time, Matt, for a little quarterback keeper with Duggan. You're down here, you're inside the 5-yard line. It's 2nd and goal from the 3.
Playing in his first collegiate game today, Julian Duggar replacing David Lynch, a redshirt freshman walk-on who got the start today in place of the injured Eli Holstein. Does keep it, and Duggar plows ahead for a touchdown. Pitt takes the lead.
Love the call. When you got a quarterback that can just take off and go like that, you got the extra hat as a blocker, right? And Pitt takes advantage of it there, and they avoid the devastation of that drop touchdown. And it looks like Des Reed is banged up a little bit, Matt. Ginger to get up after that play. I think he may just be cramping up, man. I mean, this guy's talking about Des Reed. Walks off slowly. He's got the Gatorade in his hands. I mean, that is the look of a young man who has left every single thing on the field. Every ounce of energy.
Ben Saul's on for the PAT. And makes it a 7-point game. Pat Narduzzi's team painfully losing their final 5 regular season games, 2 of those by 5 points or less, to Virginia, to Clemson. The injuries well documented. The unlucky plays well documented, Dustin.
It's been an interesting year for Pitt. You could say unlucky plays, and I get that, because there were. But you also had some lucky plays to get you to 7-0 as well. I mean, you're down 3 scores against Cincinnati, you come back and win. You're down double digits against North Carolina, you come back. So my point in saying that is, there's ebbs and flows to a season, and Pitt had a nice start to the year. You hate the way it fell apart, but again, this is a nice opportunity to really cement yourselves with some momentum going into the offseason.
Gleason under pressure is popped down in the backfield. Nate Matlack was there, as was the freshman Francis Brewu. Loss of 8 on the play.
And literally the worst thing that can happen for this Rockets offense is to take a sack on this first play. Now you've got 2nd and a mile. You've got to have a touchdown. Don't got to pick it all up here in this play.
Gleason again under pressure. Takes off. Gleason still on the run. And what an effort by the 2nd leading rusher for Toledo. Makes it 3rd and manageable.
Incredible effort by Gleason. You can't say anything other than he's just a football player. tough kid. Both quarterbacks now. Duggar on the last drive takes off on a 3rd down to pick up that 1st down. Now here on 2nd and, forever, basically 2nd in Toledo here from downtown Detroit, takes off and gives him a not even manageable, like a very attainable 3rd and about 3.
4-man rush. Gleason feels it and has to bury it. Brew again with the pressure.
Just a little indecisive by Gleason. If he feels that pressure coming early, just take off and go. Like right now, if he would have just took off and gone, he probably picks up the 1st down on the ground with his legs. Now 4th and 3.
Game on the line for Jason Candle's team.
Here is your ball game.
Play clock expiring, and Candle saw it. He's going to burn a timeout.
I probably would have taken the timeout anyway.
They're 1 timeout of this overtime period. Be a 30-second timeout.
Where are you going here if you're Jason Candle in Toledo?
Junior Vanderos. Not even a question. And I say that because this is the one guy that I think single-handedly put the team on his back in the 2nd half to get you to this point where you're in overtime. Playing with a ton of passion. Like, I just put the football out somewhere where he can get his hands on it. I guarantee you he makes the catch.
Vanderos with a career-high 184 receiving yards on 11 catches.
He is in the slot, top of the screen, closest to the core on the hash marks. And now you're maybe going to get another timeout here by Pittsburgh, as Randy Bates and Pat Narduzzi want to discuss. Maybe they're discussing where number 2 is at in blue.
You bring pressure here if you're Randy Bates?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Been close to sacking Gleason a couple of times on this possession.
Now, the only problem is when you do bring all that pressure, and if you end up going 0 coverage in the back end, I say 0 coverage meaning man-to-man, no safety help, and you pressure, you leave the middle of the field wide open, and also you leave yourself vulnerable to that quarterback run. So if Gleason would decide to take off and run with the pressure and the man coverage, you potentially have an opportunity for him to maybe run for a touchdown. There's a look at Randy Bates on your left. Got a little scarlet and gray in him.
To keep the game alive if you're Toledo. Four-man rush. Gleason, catches made, and a 1st down. Jerwan Newton, the program's all-time leading receiving touchdowns receiver, keeps the game alive for the Rockets.
Now, one thing to talk about here a little early is if Toledo scores, I'm going for 2 right now. So if Jason Candle's sitting there on the sidelines, I'd be thinking about that 2-point play to get that walk-off win.
Nominal carry on 1st down by Jaquez Stewart. Matlack with the tackle. Kansas State transfer, by the way. If you're looking for that K-State Rutgers game, it's over on ESPN2. We will flip to it on ESPN at the conclusion of overtime here in Detroit. Second and 9. Gleason under pressure, escapes, looking, caught. Vanderos close to the goal line.
They're saying he's down. The ball did come out, Matt, but they're going to say he was down.
And he has a 1st down.
All right, 1st and goal. I would do the exact same thing, Matt, that the Pitt Panthers did on their possession, and that's quarterback run.
Well, Gleason certainly has that ability. was third amongst all quarterbacks in the MAC this year in rushing touchdowns with 6.
And now you got to make sure that there's no false starts here. Toledo's been here before inside the 5. In fact, against Akron, they were in the same spot.
It's Wallen Zach. Stop short.
I'm snapping the ball to Gleason, and I'm saying, this is a design quarterback run. You go get it. That's what I would do.
Second and goal. Gleason keeps following blockers and leaps into the end zone. And Toledo a PAT away from tying the game in OT. What a tough young man who this year has battled a host of injuries, including head injuries in October.
I don't understand not going for 2 here. The second overtime, you've got to go for 2 when you score a touchdown.
Instead, it's Dylan Cunanan to tie it at 37. Right down the middle. What a swing. I mean, if you're just joining us.
Kevin Connors, what you got for us, partner?
Well, Matt, the Rate Bowl is underway over on ESPN2 after K-State kicked a field goal on the opening drive. Antoine Raymond and Rutgers went 75 yards in 13 plays. 7-3, it's on ESPN2. You'll see it here on ESPN after our finish in Detroit. Matt?
Thank you, Kevin. What a game we've had here in Detroit. And if you're just joining us, Toledo led by 8 at the half. Pitt scored 18 in a row. Looked like they were going to run away with this game. And Toledo came right back, scored the final 10 points of regulation. Here we are, starting OT number 2. Dustin Fox tied at 37.
It's been such a fun game. And for it to not end in multiple overtimes, come on, let's go back to the start of the first overtime. This should have been a touchdown. Des Reed, the one play that he makes all day that he didn't make a great play. So then you go back to 4th down Toledo. You go to your star receiver, Jawan Newton picks up the 4th and 3, and then Gleason is able to cap off the drive. They decided to tie the game to go to a second overtime. Now they've got the ball back, which is why I would have just gone for 2 and avoided this whole second overtime.
Pressure forces Gleason out. Floats to the end zone. It is broken up by Donovan McMillan.
Oh, and here's the thing. If that is picked off, I mean, this game's pretty much over, right? And you could have at least given yourself a chance by going for 2 at the end of that first overtime. All right, I'll get off my high horse now.
Intended for Jawan Newton. Gleason lives to see another down. 2nd and 10. With time. Over the middle and caught by Jaquez Stewart. Brandon George with the tackle. And they will move the sticks.
Stewart, you know, he's quiet. You're like, is he still healthy enough to get in the game? Is he going to make a play? And then boom, pops into the game and makes a big play right there.
Gleason takes off and is brought down by Kyle Lewis. What a season by Kyle Lewis. 2nd team All-American, leading a veteran linebacking core.
Those are the types of plays that'll get him on an NFL roster and in a starting role in the NFL. That's a big-time play, big-time stop.
Play clock below 5. On second down. Gleason. End zone. And it almost looked like he just threw that away.
It didn't seem like that one had a chance at all. He was at least unsure of himself as he stepped up to throw that pass. So 3rd and 10 here, and most likely going back to the air. And they've got their top 2 targets there at the bottom. You've got Newton number 1 and Vander Ross number 2, ironically enough.
Empty set for Gleason. Here comes pressure. Over the middle and incomplete. Intended for his leading receiver, Jawan Newton.
He had Newton wide open, but the pressure was, I think, too much. I think it just forced the throw to come out as a fastball. And it was thrown behind Newton. Newton was open.
So now we will see Dylan Cunanan from 33 hit that 51-yarder late in regulation to tie the game. For the lead. And Cunanan buries it.
I think a little closer than Jason Candle would have liked, but nonetheless, it's good and you're happy. You've got the lead for the first time here in a while. And this thing just squeaks right through that left goalpost. You were like, it's good. Oh, yeah, it is good. Barely. Barely good. You know what they say about barely good? It's good. So here's Des Reed now. I'm sure going to get a little bit more action here in the second overtime. And Matt, on the day, Des Reed has touched the football 37 times.
And there's going to be a pre-snap penalty here.
False start. Number 74. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Guys, you should see Des Reed tough out the rest of this drive here. He was giving that treatment to his hamstring again with a massage gun. He told me that's part of his regular treatment. It's his way of being able to stay out here on the football field. He's really been toughing this one out the entire game.
He's a war daddy at his size, and to be able to have that workload, just so impressive.
There he is with the carry. Spinning out of one tackle, cutting upfield.
Come on.
And Reed brought down at the 20 with over 160 yards rushing in a season-high performance for the first-year transfer out of Western Carolina.
He's holding that hamstring again, Matt. You can take a look as he now goes down to the field. Talk about a young man that is giving it everything he has.
Well, remember, he missed their final game of the regular season against Boston College. They missed him severely in that loss to the Eagles. And Pat Narduzzi, as head coach, coming out to check on him. Pitt Nation thrilled. Desmond Reed announcing before the bowl game that he intended to return for the 2025 season. What a stat line for the young man.
Well, like we said before the game, like he would most likely touch the ball at least 30 times. Well, he's touched it 38. And here's the last run. Just continues to give such great effort. And you got to think that that's a cramp as they're stretching it out on the field, rubbing the hamstring, just trying to get that muscle to loosen up a little bit to allow him maybe another touch or two. And frankly, that may be all you need. Like if you can get Des Reed healthy enough to just get one carry, he could have a full body cramp in the end zone and they carry him off the field as they would get a walk-off winner.
Trophy in hand.
Absolutely.
Well, fans, don't forget to check out the ESPN app for the Capital One post-game show immediately following our game here in Detroit. On ESPN, we will flip to K-State and Rutgers right now being aired on ESPN2, but you can catch the post-game celebration here in Detroit on the app. We thought this game had the potential to be one of the best of bowl season. It has delivered. Two teams that didn't finish the regular seasons the way they wanted after very encouraging starts to their seasons, Dustin. They've left it all on the field today.
No question. Pitt was at one point a top 20 team in the country at 7-0. And also at one point, Toledo, had just knocked off an SEC opponent on the road, and they were looking to potentially get into that top 25 as well, and thinking they could build off of what they did a season ago in 2023, where they won 11 games. So two prestigious programs going at it.
Here's Kenny Johnson on the sweep. And stop short of the first down marker. It'll bring up 3rd and 1. And for Pitt, two true freshmen in the backfield. Julian Duggar at quarterback, Juelz Goff at running back. They give it to Goff. Breaking free. Goff stops short of the goal line. And 1st and goal upcoming for the Panthers.
That was so bizarre. It seemed as though the defenders for Toledo just almost like stopped as soon as he got through the line of scrimmage.
Goff changing direction is brought down by Thompson, who came into the game for the injured Braden Alls.
Well, here comes number 0 back into the game. Does he got one more play in that hamstring before those suckers, cramp up again? And I can tell you, as somebody who battled cramps my entire life as a football player, they're debilitating, and especially late in games, they don't go away. And it starts once you start cramping in the hamstring, then the calf starts cramping, and all those other body parts start to go.
Extra blockers. It's Bartholomew on the carry, and he is stopped short as Daniel Bolden came out of the pile with the football for Toledo.
Well, they blew that way early to blow it dead. Like if they let this go, like they may have pushed him all the way into the end zone. And I like the call. I mean, you get the big tight end in there as a wildcat. Two plays.
And now Pat Narduzzi wants to call timeout as the play clock was winding down.
They're one timeout of this overtime period. You get 30-second timeout.
All right, 3rd and goal from the 1. 2 plays, no matter what. Matt?
I think so.
Yeah, me too. I mean, because here's the thing. If you, you kick here, you tie the game, and then you're going to those 2-point conversions anyway, which is actually further away from where you're at now. So you look at it as, hey, we got 2 plays to go win the game.
The way this game has gone, the way this season has gone, I think for Pitt, you control your own destiny. 2 plays to go win the game. Ben Saul's certainly very capable from this distance, and frankly, any distance, 50 and in.
All right, so you've got Bartholomew in again at quarterback, Matt.
He's going to pass it. Is incomplete.
Oh my goodness.
Intended for the defensive tackle Isaiah Neal. Cade Bell, the first-year offensive coordinator, pulling out all the tricks. And Pat Narduzzi's not going to take any chances here.
I don't agree with this call to kick the field goal.
18-yard field goal to tie the game for Ben Sauls.
To me, this doesn't make any sense. You're going to go to a double or a triple overtime and have to go for it.
And indeed we will. Triple OT coming your way in Motown.
You don't think Jason Candle's thrilled that they just kicked that field goal? He said, thank you very much.
Let's send it back to studio with Kevin Connors.
Yeah, Matt, they're flying over on ESPN2. The Rate Bowl now in the second quarter. This is Avery Johnson giving K-State the lead.
K-State doing everything they want. They got big runs, half of the yards on this 75-yard touchdown drive with big passes.
10-7 K-State lead. Matt?
Thank you, Kevin.
Both of these teams have had opportunities to win it on the final play and have not taken the opportunity.
We've seen Cade Bell pretty much run everything on that Waffle House chart he carries around. Anything is possible on this two-point conversion attempt here for Pitt to take the lead, led by the true freshman Julian Duggar, who was third on the depth chart entering the day. Eli Holstein missing his second consecutive game with injury. And the redshirt freshman walk-on quarterback David Lynch replaced midway through this game by Duggar.
Matt, think about this. Look where Pitt's at right now. They're further away than they just were. Am I not seeing this correctly? Like, it just baffles me.
Toledo. They're one timeout of this overtime period. Be 30-second timeout.
We're watching the same game, right?
We are.
Okay.
I have a feeling if you're not seeing it correctly, you're going to hear about it on Twitter here in about a couple of seconds. Jason Candle calls a timeout. Just wanted to see what the formation would be for Cade Bell.
Just one two-point conversion try per team per overtime period.
Overtime presented by Cheez-It.
Yeah. Are you the cheesiest?
Start of the third overtime. Pitt with one opportunity to punch it in and regain the lead. Tied at 40. Empty set for Duggar. Feeling the pressure. There goes Duggar. Back in the end zone, caught by Kenny Johnson. The sophomore from York, Pennsylvania, stepping up today in the absence of Kanate Mumpfield, gives Pitt the lead.
Well, now Toledo has another chance as they do get their chance for the rebuttal. Heck of a throw. Athletic move there on the outside. The lefty, the southpaw, makes the throw. Can Toledo keep the game alive?
Gleason joined in the backfield by Connor Wallensack, who's been this team's leading rusher all season. To extend the game, but first a pre-snap penalty.
Offside, number 44. Defense in the neutral zone, causing the reaction by the offensive player. Penalties enforce half the distance to the goal. We'll try the down.
So that offside on Jimmy Scott will move Toledo closer to the end zone. From the 1.5-yard line. Gleason rolling, looking, caught to tie the game. The Iowa State transfer, Terrell Crosby Jr.
This is just amazing to me because Pitt should already be on the podium. And Toledo keeps the game alive as we'll go to a fourth overtime. Heck of a play call here by Candle in this Toledo offense. Great throw by Gleason, well executed. You know, that's a play where it's either going to be wide open, as it was right there, or Pitt's going to walk away a winner. So here we go. Overtime number 4.
We have had 6 lead changes and 5 ties this afternoon in Detroit. 2 teams trying to end their seasons with a win. Fourth overtime in Detroit. Gleason under pressure. Is caught. Anthony Torres, their top tight end target, with the catch.
Unbelievable.
And now the ball is in Pat Narduzzi in Pitt's court.
Jason Candle is just using all 9 lives today, baby. Staying alive.
Told us his team was motivated by the opportunity to play another Power 4 school. Beat Mississippi State in early September. Have not beaten 2 Power 4 schools in the same season, but once before in program history. That was in 2015. One stop away from doing it here. Duggar rolling, looking, buying time. Flags down, and down goes Duggar. Toledo wins the Gameabove Sport Bowl.
There is a flag in the end zone, Matt. Hang on. Hang on, let's get this call.
Toledo players signaling that the penalty was on Pitt. Panthers players hoping, as they remain on their sideline, that they'll get another crack at this. But they're going to have to clear the field first.
And you got a player down cramping at about the 35-yard line.
Number 12, defense. Penalties enforced half the distance to the goal. We'll try the down. Timeout for an injury.
Holding on the first team All-MAC cornerback Avery Smith keeps the game alive for Pitt.
That's pretty apparent. I don't know how you can argue that. I mean, he held him the entire play. Great job by our camera crew with that isolation shot there. Heck of a shot. Very, very easy call.
And I believe it was Jackson Barrow who was slow to get up for Toledo. Man, what a banged up defense for the Rockets. Just trying to fight and grit their way to a win. Pat Narduzzi and his team so hungry to snap the 5-game skid. To tie the game.
Timeout Toledo. Jason Candle ran onto the field. He was on about the 5-yard line to get that timeout called.
Where do you go here if you're Pitt? We've seen a little bit of everything in this overtime from Cade Bell.
They're one timeout for this overtime period.
Honestly, I think maybe you go back to putting Bartholomew in at Wildcat. You've only got to get about a yard and less than 2 yards, right? So, you know, the flag makes it half the distance, so it's a yard and a half.
Well, they send Bartholomew back out there, but Duggar is out there as well, the true freshman quarterback.
You know, the other thing to think about, too, where Pitt could have just won the game by going for it on 4th and goal at the 1. Look at these players. They're all cramping. They've been out here for 4.5 hours. At some point, you try to end the game.
Duggar, Capes, did he get there? No signal. He did not. Toledo wins it in overtime.
I think this is the right call. Duggar's knee was down. He reaches across the goal line. I believe, Matt, after that knee hit the ground, and one official was right on it. I mean, you know, Duggar's saying, hey, I extended the ball. which he did do, and it did go across the goal line, but he was down.
The ruling on the field is the runner was short of the line to gain. Excuse me, short of the goal line. The play is under further review.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's like
the game that won't end in Detroit. So Ron Hudson's going to go to review. Todd Rath, a replay official, has been busy this afternoon in Detroit. Here's another look at it.
See, you can tell it right as he's going down. He stopped down. Oh, what a play by Bolden, too. Oh, maybe I was wrong. I'm sorry. We'll take another peek at that one.
I think he got it. On that look right there, I think he got it.
So the arm of Bolden, and I'm going to have to probably stand corrected here, Matt. Won't be the last time.
And all the Pitt players are watching this replay on the Jumbotron. They believe it's a touchdown.
Take a look at this angle here.
And this game, Dustin, has been so physical, so fiercely contested. Both sidelines jawing at each other all afternoon. We've seen a couple of scuffles break out. Toledo ran right across the field at the end of that game after they thought they had won. Now Pitt inching towards the Toledo sideline saying, hang on a second. Here's the high view. And again, Pitt believes they have converted the two-pointer here to tie the game.
I tend to agree with them. I mean, right there you can see Bolden. His arm is underneath the leg of Duggar.
Long review here. Ron Hudson remains at the monitor. I think that's our best look, and to me, I don't know about you, but it looked to me on his first effort, he got the nose of the football over the plane.
Oh, there's no doubt that he got the ball across the goal line. It breaks the plane. Is whether that leg, side of the leg, the knee, any part of that body, lower body is on the ground, then he's down.
What an effort by Julian Duggar, regardless.
All these players have given an effort, an unbelievable effort today.
And on the Pitt sideline,
the problem is every player's going to need an IV when this game's over.
On the Pitt sideline right now, they believe it's inconclusive. They continue to show what we believe to be our best replay here in Detroit. And Pat Narduzzi and company believe they have a conversion here. Meanwhile, Toledo, over the last two plays, believe they've won the game twice. Had that holding call in the gate, a game-winning stop. Call on the field here is a game-winning stop, now under review. Right there, bottom middle of your screen, you can see the football.
Oh yeah, it's
breaking the plane.
It breaks the plane.
Here's Ron Hudson.
After review, it was determined the ball carrier was not down when the ball crossed the goal line. Touchdown.
And on we go in Detroit.
Play on, playa. Here we go.
And the Pitt offense will stay on the field because they will start overtime number 5. And now if you're Toledo, you got to gather yourself here, Dustin, because twice on that last possession, they thought they won the game. The emotional swings this afternoon in Detroit.
I've been a part of one of these deals before.
Wow.
The emotions, it's just incredible how you think you've got the game won, then you think you've got it lost. I mean, it's tough to keep that composure, and then Pitt's got to go right back at it here.
Goff and Duggar in the backfield. Two tight end set. Duggar looking end zone. It is caught. Gavin Bartholomew converts, and Pitt regains the lead.
Heck of a throw, heck of a catch. Look at this throw. And so Toledo goes from thinking they won the game, they're on the field, they're celebrating, Matt, to now trailing and having to convert another two-point conversion just to keep this thing alive.
Jason Candle standing by Ron Hudson with his offense about 10 yards off the sideline. Pitt defense is lined up, ready to go. And we're going to hear from Ron Hudson here. Or not.
Is the ball bobbling? I think they're taking a peek at that. Or no? Okay.
Maybe Jason Candle wanted them to take a peek at it.
I think that,
call confirmed up top.
I think that's what you're seeing. So here we go. Here is your ball game. Can we say it any more than we have said?
Tucker Gleason, Connor Wallensack in the backfield. Need to convert to extend the game. And a timeout taken by Pitt's Pat Narduzzi.
Timeout. Pitt, they're one timeout in this overtime period. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
Where are you going here if you're Toledo?
Well, you know, most teams have half a dozen two-point plays, right? And we're now approaching to the point where you're running out of plays and you're now kind of on the sidelines just drawing things up in the dirt like you're on the playground back in the day. And also, like, everyone's exhausted here, including me and you. I mean, listen, you've got Newton and you've got Vander Ross on the outside, and you've got Gleason, who we know can take off and run the football.
Here we go for the game.
Vander Ross is your motion man.
Here comes the pressure. Good protection. Gleason throws, and it's caught. Unbelievable. Jerwan Newton ties the game on a busted play. Come on.
Tucker Houdini. Oh, my goodness. He looks like he's going to be sacked. And then he's thinking, man, I just got to take off and run. It's the last play of the game. Like, all these emotions are going through his mind, and yet he somehow has the calmness to collect himself and find Newton. This is incredible. Look at this. That is just an instinct you can't coach.
Fading to his left, flicking it to his right, and his head coach with the ever so poised fist pump. Jason Candle looking for just his second bowl win ever as the Toledo head coach, and their second win this year against a P4 opponent. Their offense will start the sixth overtime. Presented by Cheez-It in Detroit. Wide open, it's Vander Ross. And Toledo back on top.
Matt, I've called a 7 overtime game before. Buffalo and Western Michigan back in 2017. And this, that was, by the way, before they changed the rules. It was a true 7 overtimes. This is crazy. And it has the potential to continue on as now the Pitt Panthers trying to force that 7th overtime. Hey, man, did you watch Christmas Eve? They went 5. That was a fun one. South Florida.
Bowl Mania, presented by Capital One. Never disappoints.
We are now approaching 5 hours on this game.
Both teams within a 4-hour drive. Toledo just an hour away. Everybody on their feet at Ford Field. Pitt needs a score to extend the game. And Jason Candle calls timeout.
Toledo, their one timeout of this overtime period. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
What a chess match.
Do you like the new overtime rules?
Keeps it interesting.
Like going for two? Well,
from a fan perspective, it keeps it interesting, in my opinion.
The idea is to get the game to end quicker.
Right.
To save the players.
Not today.
Not today.
And if you're unfamiliar, after the second overtime, it is only 2-point conversions the rest of the way. The back half of the sixth overtime. Pat Narduzzi has been kneeling since about the third overtime. His team needs a conversion to tie it and extend the game. Desmond Reed back into the game. Here comes the pressure. Tugger under duress.